do here is go back.
What's up, Hiroshi? Let's light this candle. How do y'all do today? Welcome to an episode of Tuned In Live. Haven't done one of these in a while. So if you're new to the channel, twitch.tv/arrow with a name, hit that follow button down below. If you are new to watching us on our YouTube channel, Arrow Entertainment, hit that subscribe, like button down below. So welcome to today's show. As you can tell by the title of it, Sound of Freedom, the Tim Ballard story. This is a true story, too. And it's being told in theaters right now as the movie called Sound of Freedom. And I recently got to check it out. I recently got to watch it. Before I get into it, if any of you guys are listening to us, and if you want to join me in the Discord, if you want to share your thoughts, hop on the show. Link for the Discord is right down below. Click the link, join in on the app, on your phone, PC, whatever. Share your thoughts, hop on in. So let's get down to the nitty gritty, guys. The Sound of Freedom. This is a movie that came out earlier this month. It released July 4th. And I know July 4th was on a Tuesday, of course, and nobody wanted to celebrate the 4th of July, Independence Day on a Tuesday, a work day, and people had, days off. They had a 3-day weekend. What was it, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday? They took the holiday Monday and then worked Tuesday. But then you got people that are lucky enough to be at home with their families, Tuesday evening, take them out to see fireworks celebrations and all. I remember that because I was working that night and I was seeing fireworks in 3 different directions from where I was working at. So I guess lucky me, I got to see the fireworks then, right? But this movie came out July 4th. And wouldn't you believe, this movie, as stated by actor Jim Caviezel. If you don't know who Jim Caviezel is, this guy, I've never really seen a movie of his. I've heard of a few movies that he's been in. And he's been in Hollywood. He's been doing movies, God, for quite a while. Oh, you know what? I actually did see a movie of his. I'm looking at his filmography right now. He was in the movie Pay It Forward with oh, what the fuck is his name? That little boy, Haley Joel Osment. Yeah, he was in there with Haley Joel Osment, Helen Hunt, and Kevin Spacey. So apparently he was in that movie too. He was in a few other movies back in the day. He was Warren Earp in the movie Wyatt Earp. Okay, so if you've seen movies like Wyatt Earp, Pay It Forward, G.I. Jane, then you know who I'm talking about probably. But he's also most popular for the Mel Gibson 2004 movie, The Passion of the Christ, where he played Jesus Christ. And that movie alone was kind of a controversial at the time, I guess, for Christians or whoever was watching the movie, whoever's seen the movie. I personally haven't seen it. I've been wanting to watch it. I've tried to watch it a couple times, but then I'm like, for me, I can't sit and watch a movie that's all subtitles when the whole movie is in Arabic. But then again, I've watched movies like Pan's Labyrinth, you know, where the whole movie is in German, I think it is, and you're just sitting there watching subtitles while trying to pay attention to the art of the film, which I was able to at times, but the main focus of the story is, you know, you're trying to pay attention to how the characters interact with each other and what they're saying with each other. So I think that's what cut me off from watching The Passion of the Christ, but I am planning on giving it a go. But yeah, he was in that movie as well. So he's recently in this movie, Sound of Freedom. And it's a really good movie. In this movie, he put out a disclaimer on it, a couple disclaimers on it at the end of the movie. And I'm going to play them for you here in a little bit. They've tried so hard to release this movie within the last 5 years. He stated that the movie was already made, basically. He stated, you know, they were just trying to release it in theaters. But there were so many roadblocks ahead of them. You know, there were so many roadblocks, and there were so many things keeping them from releasing this film in theaters. And it's like, what is Hollywood trying to accomplish here? Like, what are they trying to accomplish from keeping this message from reaching theaters, from reaching people to watch it? Is it the fact that they think the movie is basically about children being sold into child sex slavery and child trafficking? I mean, are they afraid of that people may not watch it or go into it watching it and leave with dread and be like, oh my God, this movie is disgusting? No, it's not that at all. It's not that at all. There's really no graphic detail in the movie. Yeah, the movie is R-rated. Yes, it is. But that's not the point at all. You know, you don't see pedophiles having sex with children. You don't see pedophiles committing sexual acts with children within the movie itself. You don't see any of that shit. In fact, the whole movie itself is about the character Tim Ballard, who Jim CAVEIZEL portrays. And he plays a agent for Homeland Security. And his job is to seek out and detain pedophiles and people who are in possession of child pornography, spread it throughout the dark web, the World Wide Web, all of that. And he ends up catching one pedophile and arresting him, detaining him. And then it leads into something much bigger. It leads into something much bigger. And he learns that there's a bunch of kids that were being sold. But the thing is, with his division of the department, let me see here. Bloop. Done. Okay. So, within his division, and he feels so terrible that when he sees images like this in the movie, and they're like, okay, all our job is catching pedophiles. catching pedophiles, bringing them to justice. But how many kids have we freed? How many kids have we brought in, that are victims? None of them. So, he feels so bad about it. So then he basically goes out on a mission himself. He takes it upon himself to take this guy right out of prison, and he makes it seem like he is a pedophile himself, that he's on his side. So he plays the manipulative part with this one guy that they got detained, who actually helps him by taking him to where his one buyer is. And he ends up saving the one child. And then, of course, he fools the guy and he says, never trust me, or never trust anybody, or something like that. I forgot what it was. He said, like, never trust a pedophile. So this pedophile, he ends up getting arrested again, ends up getting put back in jail again, and he catches the one guy who bought this child. And he listens to this child's story as to what happened to him, his sister, and a whole bunch of other kids, and how he got purchased. So then he takes it upon himself, not only after returning the child safely back to the father, but also going out of country to possibly where all these children were being shipped to, being sold to, and basically bringing them all to justice. Without giving too much of the movie away, though, I'm going to go right into it. So let's play this segment from the movie itself. This was in the end credits. It's a special message. So if you stayed and watched the movie in theaters, then you've heard this. I want to make sure there's no advertisements or anything. Yeah, there's an advertisement, of course. There's always an advertisement with dumb things like this. Here we go.
I want to thank you all for coming out and watching this movie. I'm guessing some of you are feeling sad, maybe overwhelmed, or even a sense of fear, which is understandable. But living in fear isn't how we solve this problem. It's living in hope. It's believing that we can make a difference, because we can. But I want to make one thing clear. This movie you just watched isn't about me or Tim Ballard. It's about those kids. Steve Jobs once said, the most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. Abraham Lincoln credited Harriet Stowe when she wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. This powerful story inspired millions to rise up and fight against slavery. I think we can make Sound of Freedom the Uncle Tom's Cabin of 21st century slavery. This film was actually made 5 years ago and wasn't released till now, with every roadblock that you can imagine being tossed in the way. And the names you see here on the screen took a stand, and they made sure this story could be shown to all of you. And now all of you have the opportunity to continue telling this story. We don't have big studio money to market this movie, but we have you, and the baton has now been passed to you. You are the storytellers that can get people to come see this film in theaters. When you come to a theater, you experience movies differently. There is no pause button, there are no distractions. We all have an experience as we watch the film together as a community. It makes it possible for strong messages like this one to take root. Sound of Freedom is a hero's tale, but I'm not talking about the character I play. It's the heroic brother and sister in this film that work to save each other. They are the true heroes. The most powerful person in this world is the storyteller. Together, we have a chance to make these two kids and the countless children that they represent the most powerful people in the world by telling their story in a way only the cinema can do. For a couple of months, while Sound of Freedom is in theaters, these kids can be more powerful than the cartel kingpins or presidents or congressmen or even tech billionaires. We believe this movie has the power to be a huge step forward toward ending child trafficking, but it will only have that effect if millions of people see it. Now, I know it's weird, because we're in a theater, but feel free to pull out your phones and scan this QR code. We don't want finances to be the reason someone doesn't see this movie, so Angel Studios boldly has set up a Pay It Forward program where you can pay for someone else's ticket who might not otherwise see it. If you're able, we invite you to pay it forward by buying a ticket for someone else, or if your budget is tight, share the already available free tickets with as many friends as you can, or do both. Join us and millions of others as we ring sound of freedom and hope throughout the world. And just remember this, God's children are not for sale. Thank you.
And that's a strong message. That's at the end of the movie. That's during the credits. That was actor Jim Caviezel himself speaking. It took him 5 years to release this movie. What was Hollywood so concerned about? What were they so afraid about? With the message with this movie about a guy who risked his life going beyond to detain and catch pedophiles, part of a child sex slave trafficking ring, bring them to justice, saving all these children. What is so wrong about that? This is a hero. But yet, in the eyes of Hollywood, in the eyes of the liberal left media, and the media are the ones that are slamming this movie. The media is the one that is slamming the hell out of this movie for no reason. And I'll get into that in a little bit. Now, this excerpt I want to play y'all is from Fox News. Silva Surfa, what's going on? Long time no see. Have to get back to work, unfortunately, which will try to catch the next stream. Yeah, Silva, this week I will be streaming tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday, and possibly Thursday night. So it's not going to be in the morning, so you'll be able to catch me in the afternoon or evening. So I'll be doing some game streams. Right now I'm doing a podcast talking about the movie Sound of Freedom, so you can catch that later. But later on tonight, I will be streaming Phasmophobia, hopefully with Jeff Hagee. So that's going to be fun right there. So if you want to catch that later on, feel free to do so, man. But I will be here for that. But getting back to it, I'm going to play an excerpt. It's from Fox News. And it's basically Tim Ballard talking about the movie, promoting it. You know, this was posted 5 days ago. And I want you guys to hear this. This is about 5.5 minutes long, but listen. And the host of this show on Fox News, he's interviewing the Tim Ballard, the guy that the movie is based on.
On July 4th, the #1 movie in America wasn't Indiana Jones. Disney spent $300 million resurrecting Harrison Ford and releasing the summer blockbuster. But there's another movie dominating the box.
See, that's what's funny about that right there. Disney is pissed off. Disney is pissed off. They paid out, what the hell did you say, $300 and some million?
In America wasn't Indiana Jones. Disney spent $300 million resurrecting Harrison.
Disney spent $300 million for this movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Granted, I like the Indiana Jones movies, and I was wanting to see the new one, but you know what? With the way Disney execs are, with the way everybody in Disney is running, and you know secretly somewhere in Disney, you got a child sex ring, trafficking ring going on. You know, Disney supports pedophilia. Now, I know people are going to sit there and hear me say that and be like, where's your proof at? Where's your evidence? Where's your proof? It's all over. I mean, they're fucking seething with anger because this movie outdid Indiana Jones. A lot of other movies outdid their box office failure, The Little Mermaid. Now, I know 2-3 months ago, they think people were, bashing and going ape shit over the Little Mermaid, saying, oh my god, the Little Mermaid, she's a black girl, Black Ariel, da 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 da. Like, all right, who the fuck cares? It's not about the color of her skin. It's about the message that the movie is getting across to people, and it's all part of that LGBT agenda. That's what everything falls under. We'll get to that in quite a bit. Well, let's go ahead and listen to this.
Ford in releasing the summer blockbuster. But there's another movie dominating the box office. It's called The Sound of Freedom, and it beat Indiana Jones on opening day. The film's based off the true story of Tim Ballard, a former Homeland Security special agent who saved kids from an international sex trafficking ring.
It is the fastest growing international crime network that the world has ever seen.
For Homeland Security, you know we can't go off rescuing Honduran kids in Colombia.
This job tears you to pieces. And this is my one chance to put those pieces back together.
So you quit your job and you go and rescue those kids.
This movie zeroes in on the multi-billion-dollar human trafficking industry and honors a hero, someone who saved children from sex slavery. But to the media, this person isn't a hero. Someone who rescues kids from pedophiles is a villain.
You hear that? In the eyes of Hollywood, in the eyes of the liberal left, in the eyes of the liberal mainstream media, this guy's a villain. He's not a hero. He's a villain. Because he shut down a bunch of these pedophiles running this child trafficking ring. This guy, who is a hero in the eyes of a lot of Americans, a lot of people who are against sex trafficking with children. They're against that. These pedophiles, the LGBT community, the movement, they don't like this at all. Let's continue.
These films are created out of moral panics. They're created out of bogus statistics. They're created out of fear. And with something like Sound of Freedom, it specifically is looking at QAnon concepts of these child trafficking rings that are run by the high-level elites.
What the fuck is QAnon? What the fuck is QAnon? That's what that one guy just said, and he did that interview with, of course, CNN, of course, liberal media, you know, the ones that will protect a fucking pedophile in an instance. Before I continue on, okay, I want to know what QAnon is. It is an American political conspiracy theory and political movement. It originated in the American far-right political sphere in 2017. QAnon centers on fabricated claims that are made by an anonymous individual or individuals known as Q. Those claims have been relayed, developed, and supplemented by numerous communities and influencers associated with the movement. The core QAnon conspiracy is that a cabal of satanic, cannibalistic child molesters operating a global child sex trafficking ring, which conspired under former U.S. President Donald Trump during his term in office. The QAnon conspiracy theory has direct roots in Pizzagate. What the fuck, Pizzagate? Oh, geez, what the fuck is that? I might have to read into that a little bit here. An internet conspiracy theory that appeared 1 year earlier. It also incorporates elements of many other theories. QAnon is best described, or has been described, as a cult. Jesus fucking Christ. And this is what the left has put out there. The far right wing. Okay. Some of us don't follow the far right, because the far right acts almost as retarded as the far left. But when it comes to politics, I'd rather be on the right. Because look at everything that the left supports. The left supports pedophilia. Oh no, it's not pedophile anymore. They are minor attracted persons. If you remember one of the last episodes that I've talked about, where I went raging on about some teacher, some ignorant fucking teacher, school teacher, who said, we don't refer to them as pedophiles anymore. That's offensive. We will now refer to them as minor attracted persons. Christ. Followers of the conspiracy theorists say that the Trump administration secretly fought the cabal of pedophiles and would conduct mass arrests and executions of thousands of cabal members on a day known as the storm or the event. QAnon conspiracy believes that have named Democratic politicians, Hollywood actors, high-ranking government officials, business tycoons, and medical experts as members of the cabal. And you know what? All that is coming to light. Every little bit of it is coming to light. Viral guy, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show, man, and stuff. But yeah, all that shit is coming to light now. It is. That's why Hollywood and the mainstream media, they are all afraid right now because all this is getting out. The truth is getting out one way or another. And this movie, it's been released. It's been pushed. There's my buddy Jeff. Okay. Hey guys, like I said, if you want to join in, I'm in the VC. Feel free to join in. Give your thoughts, talk away, whatever. I'm in the VC on my server. But as I was reading here, QAnon, which Tim Ballard has been accused of being a part of, they believe, or believers have named Democratic politicians, Hollywood actors, high-ranking government officials, business tycoons, and medical experts as members of the cabal. That's what they're trying to cover up. Why do you think there's an actor strike going on in Hollywood right now? Why do you think a lot of high-paid Hollywood actors are going on strike? Why do you think Mel Gibson is making it a mission of himself to expose the whole pedophile ring in Hollywood? He set out to expose them all. You know, I've seen many of Mel Gibson's movies. I love the Lethal Weapon franchise. There's a few other movies that I've seen of his that I love. I didn't watch everything, but he has a lot of good movies under his belt. People hated him because he said some weird shit back in 2008 or whatever it was. People didn't care for him because he did movies like Passion of the Christ. But you know what? I respect the guy. I respect him as a human being. Because he is working to expose Hollywood for everything that is being explained out there, everything that's being told, everything that is coming out. Let's get back to this interview here with Fox News, because this CNN interview, part of it's sickening. It really is sickening. Like on CNN, I don't even know when they broadcasted this, but it was like, Hollywood QAnon promoters movie is a hit at the box office. QAnon. Let's see what Tim Ballard has to say.
For some reason, the entire media is smearing this movie as a dangerous conspiracy theory. The press is saying that the star, Jim CAVEIZEL, is a QAnon guy. And Jim plays Tim Ballard, which is strange because just a few years ago, the same media was celebrating Tim Ballard's heroics. Watch.
Tim Ballard has one mission: to track down child traffickers. 4 months ago, Colombian authorities asked him to investigate a tip that children were being sold there as sex slaves.
Within a half hour, this individual walks up to me, starts asking me what I'm here for, what I want, and within minutes, he says, well, I've got kids as young as 11 years old.
So why is the media warning people not to see a movie about child sex trafficking?
So, years ago, the media and the left, they're all praising this guy for what he did. they were praising Tim Ballard for the heroic situation that he was in, the situation, the heroics that he performed, bringing pedophiles to justice, saving over 200 kids from a child sex trafficking ring.
Based on a true story. Well, the Spear Fund founder, Tim Ballard, joins me now. So, Tim, why is the media hating this movie?
You know, I can't understand it. The film was made, produced, written like 5 years, 6 years ago, way before anyone heard the name QAnon. I still don't even know what QAnon is. In the meantime, they're trying to...
Listen to that. The Tim Ballard has said that he doesn't even know what the fucking QAnon is. He didn't even know what the fuck they were talking about. Viral, they are making kids do sucky and old man's getting boom boom from them. That's what they were doing. That's what they're doing. And this guy, in my eyes, he's a hero. This guy's a hero for what he did. They're all sitting there saying that he's part of this whole conspiracy of QAnon. He's like, I don't even know who the fuck that is. Listen to it again.
Movie.
You know, I can't understand it. The film was made, produced, written like 5 years, 6 years ago, way before anyone heard the name QAnon. I still don't even know what QAnon is. In the meantime, they're trying to connect it to some conspiracy when, in fact, like you said, this is a true story. These are real kids. I mean, these kids are my friends. They're young adults now, the ones that were rescued. They're going to come out soon and tell their story. It's going to be very awkward when the mainstream media comes after these kids next and accuses them of being part of some conspiracy when, in fact, they were rescued from a life of rape.
And you know what? There's some truth behind that, too. The media doesn't want any of this out there. All this information is being exposed now. This is something that the Biden administration hates. This is something the media hates. They get paid off to try to push and shovel this shit back underground. It's like, no, this is all fake news. It's all fake news. Look, we got another pandemic. I mean, we got another scandemic coming on. We're gonna see more sick people in 2024. We got to make sure that Joe Biden is okay. We got to make sure he gets the next election. We cannot afford Donald Trump to getting in there again. That's all these people are fucking worried about. But now a lot of shit is coming to light. There's a lot of people going on strike. There's a lot of this information coming out now, especially with this movie. This movie has it's a powerful story. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have seen it. They've watched it and they've come out in tears. They've come out sickened by the ideal effect that this is happening to children. Let's continue.
It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen in the media, perhaps.
I mean, this publication says The Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brain worms, and that it fetishizes the torture of its child victims.
Fetishizes the torture of children. That's what the media is saying about this movie. It fetishizes the torture of children. It nowhere near that. Nowhere near that.
Is that what the movie does?
It absolutely does not do that. It tells a story based in truth. And, you know, what I think is happening, Jesse, I think that the left and these media outlets, they don't want to have a discussion that this film is going to compel. A discussion about why 85,000 children showed up unaccompanied at the border and got released into the interior of a country that is the highest consuming country for child exploitation material on the planet.
85,000 children. 85,000 children went missing from their homes, their families, their friends, into a life of slavery. Before I continue this, I shared something on Jeff's Discord last night after I watched it. And there's a strong, powerful message at the end, you know, where they usually do like some truth behind it, you know, some captioning and stuff like that. After Tim had come back from his trip to Colombia. You know, he was on a Colombian operation to free the children. And it states, Tim's testimony about the Colombian operation led the United States Congress to pass legislation increasing international cooperation in child trafficking cases. Human trafficking is a $150 billion a year business. These sick fucks, these pedophiles, these child rapists make $150 billion a year trafficking humans. Most of them are children. The United States is one of the top destinations for human trafficking and is among the largest consumers of child sex. You heard that right. Our country, secretly under wraps, our country is one of the top destinations for human trafficking and among the largest consumers of child sex. There are more humans. Listen to this, is a powerful statement here. And I know some people out there are probably going to be pissed and upset. And they're like, oh, no, hold on. That's wrong information. No, you've never been through the Civil War. You may have ancestors who were slaves, or you may have ancestors who have owned slaves. That's 200 years ago. We're talking about right now. Right now, slavery is not a thing if you're of color, if you're of different race. This is something completely different, but this statement is powerful. It hits with a punch. There are more humans trapped in slavery today than any other time in history, including when slavery was legal. Many of those slaves are children. I want somebody to sit there and tell me that there's something racial about that statement, that there's something wrong about that statement, that statement is completely incorrect. I want somebody to tell me, no, that's not true. That's not true. There was thousands of slaves back then. Yeah, they were all sold by your own ancestors, your own people. And not just black people, not just Africans. Jewish people were sold into it. Muslim people were sold into it. Some white people were sold, whoever was European over there. There were so many slaves being sold. Not just Africans. So many others. And they fought for their freedom. They worked for their freedom. Until the Great Civil War happened. And one white man in office, Abraham Lincoln, made sure that shit came to an end. He freed the slaves. He freed your ancestors. Yeah, they truly weren't free after that. You had to fight for your civil rights movements throughout the next 50, 60 to 100 years. But look where you're at now. Yes, we still have some ignorant assholes, throughout the country, throughout the world that are still racist. But you know what? Fuck them. You have a vast majority of people that look at you as a human being, as a buddy, as a friend, as an associate, whatever you want to call us. We don't look at you as a person of color. We don't do that shit anymore. Some ignorant fuckers do still. Let them. Where are they going to be when they die? They're going to rot in hell. Their life is hell. Fuck them. But that part of slavery is done and over with. Even though a lot of people are trying to use that as a divider amongst everybody. Trying to use that as a divider. Let's racially divide the nation. Who's one of the biggest fucking racists in office within the past 5, 6, 7 years? Joe Biden. Trump ain't fucking racist. Where the hell do y'all get off of saying, oh, Trump is racist? This motherfucker marched with Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and all that. This motherfucker, his ancestors never owned a slave. How pissed off are you all when you found out about that shit? How pissed off were you people? I'm not talking about race. Like you people, like you liberals. You people, you liberals, you woke stupid motherfuckers. How pissed off were you all when you found out that Trump's family never owned slaves? But still, you make up these allegations, these phony allegations. Trump is racist. Trump is racist. Where's your proof at? Where's your proof at? Your biggest political racist is in office right now. And what's he doing? He's sniffing kids. He did it live last week. He was sniffing a young child. He was nibbling at the young child. Jesus Christ. I would have, if I were that parent, I would have slapped the fucking, I don't give a fuck if he's your all supposed president of the United States. He ain't no fucking president. He's a pedophilic piece of shit that needs to be locked under the jail. This motherfucker thinks it's funny to have sex with kids, to go around nibbling on little kids. He thinks that shit is funny. Joe Biden's a disgusting piece of dog shit. I've said it many a fucking times. He ain't no fucking president. He just got forced in there. He got picked and put in there because people don't like Trump. Trump was helping the country. Trump was helping our freedom. Now, he was racist. Find me one black person that says he was racist. And I know you will. And then you ask them the question, who'd you vote for? Joe Biden. Figures. And that's all you need to know. But let's continue on with this this video here.
They don't want to talk about why these same publications are pushing an agenda to change the word pedophile to minor attracted persons in order to normalize sexual activity with children. I think
exactly, that's what I was talking about. They want to change the wording. They want to change the terminology of pedophile to minor attracted person. Minor attracted person. They want to normalize pedophilia. You want to normalize pedophilia. There is nothing normal about a man or a woman who takes a child and has sexual needs, who possesses a sexual nature. Oh, when I said that this movie was R-rated, I thought it was R-rated. It could have been an R-rated movie. I'm sorry. I apologize ahead of time for that. This movie was actually rated PG-13. I'm looking at it right now. This movie was actually rated PG-13. Like, with the message, with the themes of this movie, you would think that it was R-rated because, let's see, what does it say? Thematic content, including sex trafficking, violence, language, sexual references, some drug references, and smoking throughout. But the fact of the matter is that the movie was talking about and describing it, but they didn't show any explicit detail, which is good. So yeah, I apologize for the rating of the movie. It was not an R-rated movie. It's a PG-13 rated movie, but still, it's a good movie. And what Tim Ballard went on about, he said they want to normalize pedophilia. They don't want pedophiles to be labeled as pedophiles anymore. Oh, that's a criminal term. That's a negative criminal term. We don't want them to be known as pedophiles anymore. We want them to be known as minor attracted persons. That's what the LGBT wants to do. We'll get into that in a little bit.
that's what they're trying to avoid. And they know this film is going to shine a light on all of the things, all the atrocities happening to children. And so they have to discredit it by lying about it.
So what would their motivation be to discredit a movie that's trying to shine a spotlight onto atrocities committed against children?
Well, if the truth of human trafficking and child exploitation were to be brought to bear, brought to light, then they would have to have a debate, a discussion that they don't want to have about, again, these policies around sexualizing children or allowing children to consent at a young age to do anything and everything, which would eventually include being, identifying as an adult perhaps and having sex with pedophiles. I hunt pedophiles. I've been hunting them for 20 years, and they are watching this and they're salivating. They are happy that Rolling Stones and The Guardian are ripping on a movie that exposes them. So I don't like the fact that these media outlets are, in fact, wittingly or unwittingly, running interference for human traffickers and pedophiles.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen the movie yet, but now I want to see it because this thing made such a splash. Tim, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck at the box office.
He said it right there. He said it right there. Pedophiles are salivating because media outlets, like you said, The Guardian and a few others, that are all for liberal movements. They're all for this crooked shit that's going on in the country. They're all for that. They're all for pedophilia. These media outlets are ripping on this movie. And pedophiles are celebrating, they're salivating at the fact that the media is ripping on the movie. But you know what? The movie has been released. It's been out in theaters for the past 2 weeks. Let me get rid of that real quick. The movie has been out for the past 2 weeks. And they are salivating on it. They're celebrating it. It's sickening. It truly is sickening that pedophiles, and they're also protected under, and they're celebrated by people in the LGBT. That's sickening right there. Here's Mel Gibson's message. Listen to this.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom. One of the most disturbing...
And he said it himself. It's a disturbing problem in Hollywood. Human trafficking. And it's targeting our children. It is targeting our children horribly. And Mel Gibson is one of those people that is all for shutting it down and exposing it. And that's what he's doing. We're almost an hour in, guys. Let's go ahead and go to a commercial break. And when I return, we'll look more into Tim Ballard, and we'll look more into the LGBT and my reevaluation of why I hate the LGBT community. We'll be right back.
As they hurry home, two robbers plan a heist. But little do they know, he's got his home turf ice. Home alone, to trick them every way. Oh, what fun it is to see two burglars get Bombay. Home Alone.
Home Alone, the Christmas gift of the year. $24.98 or $5 less with Pepsi rebate. Rated PG.
I love the taste of milk, Max. It's a great taste. Which is why, for the pleasure of a tall, tasty glass, I do almost anything. For the smooth, cool goodness of milk, I fly to the farthest galaxy. For the cold, refreshing taste of milk, I crawl through the burning wasteland. For one satisfying, yummy gulp of milk, I'd stretch myself to the limits. I do homework, Max. Wow. Milk. It tastes so good. Your time is up, Hook. Never! Lost Boys attack! Hey, Max! Man in the attack trap! Fire! Bang run! You're dead meat now! Out of my way, Rufio! I got a surprise for Pat! Face my dagger! Man overboard! But I can't swim!
Hook figures and attack raft sold separately. You put raft together. New from Mattel.
Last time, Lucky found out his magic doesn't work underwater.
Can anyone help me get home?
Hey, somebody's gonna help Lucky.
That's because he likes the new Star Blue marshmallows and Lucky Charms.
Get 2 marshmallows in one. The thoroughly delicious part of this complete breakfast. Look!
I'm saved. Thank me, Lucky Stars. And me Star Balloon marshmallows.
Kids, now you can get free Skittles in marked boxes of Lucky Charms.
Once upon a time, there was a little mermaid, Ariel, who dreamt of being human. And she did all she could to make her dream come true. Now the Little Mermaid and all her friends come to you in a fun-filled handheld game. You can guide Ariel as she collects human objects, but beware of the evil sea witch, Ursula. And you can help Prince Eric in his fight to win Ariel forever. Disney's The Little Mermaid. Batteries not included, from Tiger.
Okay, Kmart's got these cool Murray bikes on sale. Which one do you want Santa to bring you? The 2 hot bikes. 2, cool. And you, Debbie? This one. The totally hot bike for the Debmeister. Are you sure you like them? They're totally hot. They're too hot. Now, how are we going to let Santa know? Daddy's house. Daddy. Kids these days.
You think Santa's elves shop at Kmart?
Sure, there's one right now. Major luck.
It's my duty to help these kids serve God and country. God help our country.
Weeknights at 6 on Channel 46.
Come with Disney's greatest heroes as you try to protect the rocket pack in 5 stages of high-flying adventure. So turn on a tiger and turn loose some excitement. Because once you've held onto a tiger, you'll never want to let it go.
Santa Claus is coming to Atlanta's family place for the holidays, American Adventures. Go by the great little seafood place, Captain D's, and pick up your American Adventures coupon. You'll save $4 on a fun pass, and we'll take your photo with Santa free. Then visit Santa's workshop, where Mrs. Claus and the elf.
And we are back to the show, guys. You're watching Tuned In live on twitch.tv/Arrow with a name, and live on YouTube channel, Arrow Entertainment. Hit that like, subscribe button down below. I'd like to thank our haters, our trolls. Well, actually, it's only one troll with multiple accounts, but I'd like to thank him for the multiple views and comments in our comment section. You're really blowing up the comment section. Like, I'm sitting here watching it and laughing on the Be Right Back screen. I'm like, wow, at least I know my comment section is working. Thanks for showing me that. But yeah, thank you very much for the views. Thank you so much. Yeah, you are hurting. You're hurting the show. Yeah, you're hurting the show by sitting there and commenting, and you're hurting the show by giving the show some viewership. Thank you for that. If I had a donation button, I would proudly say, go ahead and donate. Send me some money. I love it. I really love it. But yeah, I got my buddy Jeff Hagee in the chat. You know, he's moderating, so you know he's playing whack-a-tar today. So have at it, bud. So if you guys missed the first half of the show, I did state later on I'm going to be streaming Phasmophobia right after the show, and I'm going to be live with my buddy Jeff Hagee of the Jeff Hagee Show. If you guys are on Twitch, follow him over there, twitch.tv/Jeff Hagee Show. He goes live on the weekends. If you want to see him do shots, do prank calls, tell hilarious stories, etc., follow him over there. And please donate, please. You know, like our haters over here, they hate when people donate to people. They hate it, so it is what it is. So looking back on what we were talking about, Tim Ballard. Let's look into the history of Tim Ballard here. And it may be wrong because I'm reading it off of Wikipedia, and Wikipedia usually is like, I don't know, 70% true sometimes. You know, there's a lot of bands out there, there's a lot of music artists out there that will do these wiki facts. You know, is it fact or fiction? You know, Wikipedia is a fact or fiction, you know, and usually some of it is true and some of it's just made up, you know, just to give somebody a you know, make them look good or make them look bad or whatever. But let's see. Tim Ballard, this guy, he's from Utah. He is an American anti-human trafficking activist and author. He is the founder and former CEO of Operation Underground Railroad, or R, CEO of the Nazarene Fund, and the author of several books. 2023 American action film Sound of Freedom, starring Jim Caviezel, was inspired by the work of Ballard. He grew up in California as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He served a 2-year mission to Chile. After completing his mission, he attended and graduated cum laude, I guess that's what it's called, in Brigham Young University with a Bachelor's of Arts in Spanish and Political Science. Founder of Operation Underground Railroad. He founded this in 2013. He founded the non-profiting organization. He has credited his organization with rescuing thousands of trafficking victims. However, these figures have been disputed by Vice magazine, and Hour has been criticized for a lack of transparency and exaggerating stories. Exaggerating stories. So this guy who is a hero, this guy who has saved several children, several hundred children, and brought pedophiles to their knees, brought pedophiles to prison. You're going to sit there and say that his stories of you know, rescuing thousands of victims, there's lack of transparency, he's over-exaggerating. He didn't save 200 children. He may have saved only 2 children. How would you even fucking know? Do you all even do research? Do you all even look into the shit? Of course not. You're all paid off by the liberal fucking media. You're all liberal. You know, you're all fucking woke. You're all part of that fucking the fucking democratic movement, you know? He has briefed politicians on the issue of child sex trafficking, including Donald Trump in January 2019. Ballard trained Imperial County Sheriff's Office personnel in the use of data mining software that led to the arrest of a man suspected in distributing child pornography. Now, I'm sure that this is the man that is at the beginning of the movie, sort of, that he does arrest. And he does use to get close to one of the people that he sold a child off to. There's my buddy Cypher. Subscribe with Prime. Subscribe for 9 months. Thanks a lot, man. What's going on? I'm talking about the movie Sound of Freedom. If you want to, man, hop on into Discord, chat away. That's what I'm talking about. You know, this movie it's a powerful message. And I just watched it last night, and it is good. It is good. It's the message that it puts out. It can be sickening because you're learning about children that are being sold into slavery for sex. These, you know, it's a sickening idea. It's a sickening thought. You know, it's disturbing. But this movie, it does such a great job at telling this guy's story. You know, he goes in and he brings these pedophiles to justice. He detains them and arrests them. You know, working with other organizations and saving children. The guy's a hero. He truly is. In 2019, Ballard was appointed to the White House Public-Private Partnership Advisory Council to end human trafficking. The council was terminated as required by the enabling legislation of September 30th, 2020. Close to the fucking election time, or was it past election time or whatever? Yeah, that's when they were trying to sneak Biden into that shit. Let's see what the media says. In the 2016, The Abolitionists, a documentary produced by Gerald Mullen, featured the first operations undertaken by Ballard in Operation Underground Railroad. Another documentary from director Nick Nanton, Operation Toussaint, was produced in 2018, which featured an operation in Haiti that had the support of the Haitian president and former U.S. Congresswoman Mia Love in Utah. The film was adapted into a book and released the following year. A feature film, Sound of Freedom, which is what we're talking about today, starring Jim Caviezel as Ballard, was announced in 2018. It was released in theaters in 2023. Slate said that the movie appears to be a straightforward search and rescue thriller in which Ballard, a special agent at the Department of Homeland Security, goes rogue to free a young girl from the clutches of a Colombian sex trafficking ring. But it arrived in theaters surrounded by a cloud of innuendo put forth by its star and its noisiest right-wing supporters. Spiritual insinuations about who doesn't want the story to be told and what real world traffickers are really up to. Really. Anthony Rossi. Hey, what's up, Tony? Stop by to say hello. Gotta drive home, and it didn't surprise me that it took 5 years to release. Yeah, no, it took them a long time. Even Jim Caviezel said that there was a lot of barriers. There was a lot of obstacles that they had to go through to release this movie. It's sad, but it's good that it finally came out. It's good that they finally got the message out there, and people are actually seeing it now. People are going out to the theaters and seeing it, and it's pissing the media off. It's pissing the liberals off, and I'm loving every bit of it. But right here, it's like, they're calling it, it's the noisiest right-wing supporters. The right-wing supporters. Yeah, well, nobody likes those. They're all liberal. Well, somebody calls right-wing liberal. I know who that idiot is. I don't even want to fucking mention that motherfucker's name. But he's far on the left anyway. He's a fucking moron anyway. But they don't want us to tell the story. They don't want the story to be told. And what real world traffickers are really up to. How do you know what real world traffickers are? How do you know what they're really up to? This guy who risked everything to go in and save these children. And he's mentioned how many children he saved. So you're going to sit there and say that he's straight up lying to you all? Wow. 2018 documentary Operation Toussaint and the 2020 documentary Triple Take were also based on Ballard's work against sex trafficking. Oh Christ, here we go, football. ESPN featured Ballard and Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin in a piece which highlighted the Restavik issue near the border of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Tomlin would also write the foreword to Ballard's book, Slave Stealers, True Accounts of Slave Rescues Then and Now. Okay, that's pretty cool. So somebody from the Pittsburgh Steelers was helpful in that shit too. Nice. Okay. And people shit on the Steelers all the time, I'm not much into football. I don't follow the politics of football with what team is better, what team has the best plays or the best players or the best coaches. I don't follow any of that. But when I see something like that and they're like, yeah, we're supporting him, we're helping him out with this, head coach of the Steelers, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool right there. Especially like a lot of us in Maryland here, like those who do follow football, the Ravens fans, they're like, oh, the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're going to beat them. Like, yeah, well, I now have respect for the head coach then. If he is still the head coach now, I don't know. Like I said, I don't follow it. Criticism toward Ballard and his supporters. Let's see. Oh. Hopefully this works. Oh! Oh, my buddy Hydro. He just showed me something. It's funny. I'm not going to announce it, But, oh, yeah. I like that, dude. I'm not going to announce it, but let's say it's something good. So, yeah. I'm just talking back and forth with my buddy Jeff here. But, yeah. Going back to the criticism. Ballard and supporters of Our have been criticized for promoting the far-right QAnon conspiracy theory. Once again, Ballard came out and said that when all this was going on back in 2016, he didn't know who the hell QAnon is. QAnon. Sounds like a goddamn STD, don't it? Sounds like a fucking literal STD. Jesus Christ. Ballard had said that the claim is not true and is being used to discredit him and the film Sound of Freedom. Ballard has been criticized for broadcasting rage without regard for victim privacy. I don't believe that shit. You know, the liberal left, the far left idiots, they will always do something to try to shut somebody down, to make them look like they're pieces of shit, to make them look like Adolf Hitler or something, you know? Your Adolf Hitler is in the White House. Just like
hello.
Who we got here? Hey, Cypher! Long time no hear.
I know.
What's going on, man?
Not much.
So, I don't know. Have you checked out this film yet, Sound of Freedom?
No, I've heard about it, but I haven't gotten a chance to check it out.
Okay, so basically the movie is the story of real-life agent for Homeland Security, Tim Ballard. And this is a guy who has been bringing pedophiles to justice and rescuing well over 150 children from sex trafficking rings throughout different countries. And the media is seething with hate that this movie, and they said it took them 5 years to get this movie out there. And it's finally come out. And of course, you know, companies like Disney, corporations like Disney, they're pissed off. They're like, our biggest summer blockbuster is going to be Indiana Jones. Go see it. And lo and behold, Sound of Freedom, #1. And they're all sitting there, no, not the movie that talks about pedophilia. You know?
And what's their asinine excuse this year?
I have no idea. And the media is tearing this movie apart. And I was playing an excerpt earlier. And to anybody who's listening in, I have the video in our Discord section, Tune in Live Scraps.
Here's my question, Mike.
Yeah.
How many of the haters actually saw the movie and know what it's actually about?
Exactly. Like, how many people out there actually went and watched it rather than sit there and bash it for what it is?
They're bashing it because they think they know what it's about. They have no clue.
Exactly. Even if they get a little bit of insight as to what the movie's about, and they're like, "Oh, this is going to be a sick movie. They're gonna show kids having sex with adults or some shit." You know, it's like, "Oh, they're exploiting that," or maybe in a sense to them, it's like, "Nah, it's all fake. It's false. It's another Hollywood shout out movie," you know. But it's like, no. I watched it.
But yet, if there was a movie called One Night at Cosby's House, they'd all be using it.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, they chastised poor Cosby 5 years ago because he supposedly drugged a lot of the actresses on the sets back in the 70s and the 80s, and now, you know, they're all banking off of him, and the poor guy's in jail.
I haven't Jello since I learned about that.
That's like with Harvey Weinstein. Like, a lot of people come out and talked about Harvey Weinstein, and it's like, okay, whether you believe it or not that he was, having sex or making passes at these actresses and all, like, and you and I, we've talked about this in the past. It's like, how many of these women are actually being truthful with what they're saying and not just in it for a paycheck to slander somebody? That's like, when you look at Cosby, the dude is, oh my God, he's what, 80 some years old. he's sitting in the fucking jailhouse singing Elvis Presley, and he's sitting there like, what am I in here for? I was accused of drugging some little whore back in 1976.
It doesn't surprise me, though, because Hollywood's always been corrupt.
Exactly.
There's always cover-ups, you know?
Exactly. Like, look at last year. And it's going off topic a little bit, but look at the what was that movie called, Rust or something, with Alec Baldwin. You know, he fired what was supposed to be a prop gun on set and accidentally shot and killed one of the actresses.
I'm not gonna lie. When it came to that, I think that was a bit of karma.
Yeah, I would say.
You know, he got a little too arrogant for his own good, and I think karma came around and got him.
It did.
You know. But, you know, when it comes to this movie you're talking about, it sounds like the guy was, you know, he's being pretty much crucified for doing the right thing.
He is. And this guy, he's a Christian or a Catholic or whatever he follows. You know, what was I say? He was he grew up. He was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints back in the day. You know, and this is the same guy who, well, that's Tim Ballard actually, but Jim CAVEIZEL himself, you know, he played Jesus Christ in the movie, you know, and he's also a Christian, you know, and he, what was it? I wish I could, let's see, I do have a clip somewhere.
Well, I gotta admit, the real man behind it is a better man than me, and you know, I became an ordained minister and stuff like that, and
yeah,
the fact that he didn't kill these guys tells you he's a better man than me, because if I would have caught him doing it, I would have killed him.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm being honest. You know, I wouldn't have given these people a chance to breathe. If they were proven to have done it, that would have been the end of them.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with discrimination or anything like that, but a crime against a child is a crime against a child.
Exactly. And if anything, it's probably the worst crime in history of the country and the history of the world. Like, I'm not saying it's going to outbeat the Holocaust. You know, the Holocaust was a very tragic time, but like nowadays, this is a lot more tragic for the time being. Like, each period has its time, its period of its own tragic issues. You know, you got the World War II with Hitler, you know, murdering thousands upon thousands of Jewish people. You got the Vietnam War. You got the Cold War. You got all these horrific things throughout history. You had the Civil War with slavery. You got the 1950s and 60s with the Civil Rights Movement, you know, and how black people were treated back then. Each era has a significant timeline of history that people have suffered greatly through. And now...
I know. And what's sad about it is, throughout history, you hear about the great exploits of these people. Like, we have all these American heroes that we hear about, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is, a lot of times with greatness, they had to do horrible things.
Yeah, that too.
To get that greatness. Doesn't mean that they were proud of what they did. They did what they had to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, well, except when it comes to, you know, the Holocaust and stuff like that. I mean, this is going to sound a little weird. All right, but bear with me on this.
Yeah.
All right. What Adolf did, all right, he unified a country. Genius. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But what he did was batshit insane.
Yeah.
All right? That's why I also have always said, you know, there is a thin line between genius and insane.
Exactly.
You know, so I don't want people taking it out of context, but I mean, take it how you want. You know, I don't really give a shit.
Well, yeah, it's like you said, you know, sometimes whether it's a leader or somebody during an event, you know, they could do something that seems to be great at the time, but in their heads, what they're doing to achieve that is beyond insane. Like with Hitler, it's like, okay, this is what I want to do, and it may be a great idea for some people, but in order to get there, sacrifices had to be made, certain things had to be done. And unfortunately, a lot of the sacrifices was, all right, we got to extinguish the Jewish people. We got to get rid of the Jewish community. We got to do other things along the line to get to where we want to be. You know, there was people that were loyal to Hitler. There's people that saw him as a leader, as top dog, and then there was people that looked at him and said, "You're fucking insane as shit."
Now, I'm not saying with everything that happens, you know, you have to do horrible things like kill.
Exactly.
But my thing is, when these people are a threat, all right, and you know that they're going to constantly be a threat, sometimes neutralizing the threat is the best solution.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'll never understand, you know, why so many innocents have to die. I'll never understand that.
Exactly.
When stuff happens.
That's like,
you know, and in this case, you know, what are they going to do to cover their tracks? You know what people like that do to cover their tracks? Right? They'll dispose of their victims.
Yep. That's what,
you know, and it's disgusting.
It is. That's like, look.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, you know, I'm sure everybody who's known me from the past in your podcast, they know, yes, I'm Reverend Tom and this and that. But you get what I'm saying is, yeah, I know I may be sounding horrible, but I've always said I'm a shit excuse for a reverend. You know what I mean? I'm being honest.
You're straightforward, yeah.
I'm straightforward. I'm honest. I'm telling you the truth. I'm the most real, you know, reverend, minister, whatever you want to call me, you know, that's going to be out there because I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. You know, you don't have to agree with me, but I'm also going to tell you I really don't care what anyone else thinks.
Exactly.
You know, it's my opinion, you know, but in all honesty, though, I'm going to tell you right now, it's a fact, though, that if you side with these people, you're fucking insane.
Exactly. And that's what everybody in Hollywood is doing. That's what all the liberal media is doing. It's like I said, and like Tim Ballard said in his interview, the pedophiles in Hollywood, all around, whatever, they're salivating because a lot of the media outlet is tearing this film apart because they keep going back, oh, he's part of that QAnon bullshit. QAnon. Like, I vaguely heard about it within the past few years, but now reading about it, and it's like, yeah, it's a name that they give far right-wingers. You know, that's like, you know, when we talk about the far left and how idiotic their schemes are, their ideas are, the ideology behind them, but then they're like, oh, well, what about the far right-wingers, the QAnons, the conspiracy theorists? Well, let's see. This year, how many conspiracy theories have come to light and have been true?
You know, and kind of on a personal note, you know, which might help people understand a little more where I'm coming from, I am not a stranger to having child death happen.
Yeah.
All right. There's a case. I don't know if anybody remembers him, but his name was Richard Spignall. Okay.
Sounds familiar.
He tried to claim that he got, you know, carjacked by the Choptank River Bridge, right? And his kids were taken, right? Right. Now, my Uncle Jim, who's, well, I guess you can say my late Uncle Jim at this point.
Yeah.
All right. He was related to him. Okay?
Okay.
Because he's my half-uncle. Okay?
Okay.
But I took it personally. All right? Because found out he got caught, but found out that he shot both the kids.
Oh.
And he tried to jump into the Chop Tank River Bridge, off the Chop Tank River Bridge to kill himself after doing it. And I'll never forget when I went to the funeral. All right, and actually at the viewing, there was these two white small caskets right next to one another.
Yeah.
All right. I even had it planned at one point that I was gonna find a way to get into the same jail he was. I was gonna get myself locked up on purpose, get into the same jail he was, and kill him myself. All right?
Yep.
That's how bad this got. Luckily, justice was served when another inmate killed him.
Good.
And I know it may sound bad coming from me like that, but only once you've experienced something like that happen to a child, then you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's what happens to pedophiles in prison, and a lot of people know about that. You know, when you
he might not have been a pedophile, but he was a child murderer.
Exactly. When it comes to crime, whether it's against women or children, if you're in prison and you committed any kind of crime, any kind of nature crime toward a woman or a child, trust me, you are not getting off easy. You're going to fucking suffer greatly, especially when it comes to children.
I got myself worked up because of that. Every time I think of that son of a bitch.
It's all good.
Oh, God.
I don't blame you, man. It's all good. Like when it comes to this type of topic.
I mean, it's this bad that if I could have one wish, sometimes I wish I could bring him back so I could kill him myself.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of us feel like when it comes to people that do that shit, you know, any kind of harm to a child. You know, they say our children are our future, and we do our damnedest to raise them and make sure that they know right from wrong. But then things like this happen, and I know you support or have some support for the LGBT community, and I would never knock you for that. That's your business and all, and you know how I feel about it. My thing is,
let me put it this way: my views on that have changed a lot, and not in a negative way. I support gays, lesbians, stuff like that. I do not support the movement.
You're just like me. Exactly.
I do not support the movement. I support the people, but not the movement, because the movement has become bastardized and perverted.
Exactly. And I think a lot of gay people have said the same thing. There's a lot of gay people, a lot of people who dress in drag, a lot of true transsexuals out there. They said the same thing. You know, like you said, the movement has been bastardized in a way to now where they are targeting kids. They want to groom kids. Like down in Florida, DeSantis, much respect for him. He may be on the same level sort of as Trump in a way, but he passed a bill where it's like, okay, you stay away from our kids. Our children are not going to be part of these shows anymore. It's disgusting. It's filth. You could go ahead and have your little show. You can go have your little parades in the street. They canceled their parades because DeSantis told them children are not allowed. You stay the fuck away from our children. They canceled it. It's like, why would you cancel that? Because you can't dance in a fucking pair of underwear in front of our children? You can't be a disgusting, perverted man dressed in underwear with a shit stain in the ass crack?
Here's my thing. I have nothing against their parades and stuff like that, but my thing is, can't they dress, appropriately at least?
Exactly.
I don't care if they're in a dress, but assless chaps is kind of where I draw the line.
Exactly.
Know what I mean?
That shit belongs in the bedroom. Like, I have nothing against people who are gay, bi, lesbian, whatever. I've always said it myself, and you said it too. I'm just like you. I have nothing against you. I respect you. I respect you if you're gay. You know, whether you're a man or a woman. But the whole...
No, but it's like Brittany Dale. We know who Brittany Dale is.
Yeah.
I respect Brittany Dale, but...
I do too.
I'll admit, some of the stuff Dale has worn...
Yeah.
has actually gotten a what the fuck out of my mouth. Which is kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Because it's very rare to catch me off guard.
Exactly.
You get what I mean? And, of course, my stepmother's big deal with it because she's, like, the president of, like, this neighborhood association, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was the fact he'd be dressed like that, or she, I don't know what Dale considers themselves. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful towards them, but, you know...
Yeah.
School buses would come by.
Mm-hmm.
Like, elementary school buses would come by.
And he would dance in the median strip dressed in like a thong and shit.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So parents started complaining. But the cop said he's not doing anything illegal, which is true.
Yeah.
Not doing anything illegal. Doesn't mean it's appropriate, though.
Exactly.
I mean, could have dressed just a little nicer during the day. I don't care what they do at night. You know, when it's dark and the kids are home. But, good God, during the day.
Like,
especially the chubby friend that used to hang out.
Oh, God
around.
damn.
Oh, my God.
I don't even think he's around anymore. I ain't seen a hide or hair of him.
Well, that one, I don't think it... My only issue with that one is I think it was more special needs and just wasn't getting the help they needed.
He was.
You know what I mean? And I know it was driving Dale nuts.
And Mel.
I know that.
Mel, she knows who he is, and she's known him for years. And she said the guy, he used to have a job, he used to run a business or something, and then things started going downhill. But then when he started hanging around Dale and the whole lewd act started going on, and it's like, yeah, he does have something going on mentally, and it's gotten worse gradually over the years, and you would feel bad for the guy because he's eating out of the garbage. He's probably living on the streets, and it's like, it's a sad way to live. But with Dale, to our listeners, if you don't know who he is, he's a cross-dressing guy. He's gay. He lived in our area for so many years, and he's harmless. I've met him when I worked at our local library system, and he used to come in there all the time. He would dress normally as a guy most days. Some days he would come in full getup. He would have the blonde wig. He would have...
You remember Tim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim told me about this because he was coming towards my house one day. He was walking over towards it.
Yeah.
And apparently he bumped into Dale, and Dale gave him a lap dance in front of everybody.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. I it's a shame I don't have him in here. I'd be like, Tim, get your ass in here and explain.
That probably would have been one of the days where I would have walked up to Dale and high-fived him.
Oh, man.
Just because of how funny that would have been, because I could only imagine the look on Tim's face when it was happening.
He'd be like, no.
But I guarantee that Dale did it for shits and giggles, though. I guarantee it.
I know. He wanted to get a picture with me one day at work. I was like, nah, I'm working, man. Maybe off duty somewhere, but nah. But Dale's harmless. This is a guy that walked up and down the street. And
I get it. He feels empowered,
Yeah. And
I get it. I understand.
Yeah, because he's had a traumatic experience growing up. This is a guy who he's opened up about his past. He has been molested. He's been raped. He's been in mental institutions from time and time again. And he's explained that, okay, he suffers from depression, but him doing his persona, dressing up, acting like Britney Spears or Madonna, it helps him cope. He feels better about himself. He's somebody else, and he goes out. People know who he is. He dances. He has. I will say, and I've said it in the past, He has good choreography. He has studied the dances of all these female artists, and that's all he does. He dances to their music, and people get in videos with him. They get pictures with him, and this is a guy like, yeah, his wardrobe is very controversial out in the open, in the public, you know, where families are walking up streets or children are taking buses home from school, as you said, and he'll be on the street in a pair of ass cheekless underwear, you know, like a thong and a bra and shit, you know, and it's like, yeah, if you want to dress like a woman, more power to you. That's your business. But if you want to wear something like, if you want to be in a thong bikini or some shit, do that somewhere a little seclusive where you can feel better about yourself in that. Because you still got to take it to advance that there are children that are out walking around and they see you in this getup and they're questioning, and it's like, why is that man dressed in underwear like that? You know, why is his ass hanging out? And like you said, you got parents that question it heavily, and they're like, yeah, we don't want this guy out here, you know, performing these acts in front of kids. But it's like, you know, the police say he's not doing anything illegal. Yeah, he's within his rights. He's performing on the streets. He's doing what he's doing. But some of the stuff that he does is pretty lewd. But, you know, he does it. He does what makes him happy. And now, like, he's received so much hate from the Baltimore area, but he's got his own fan base. But he moved down to North Carolina. He seems to have a bigger fan base down there. He seems to get more love down there. More power to him. Glad to hear, you know, that he's doing good. He's happy down there. You know, there are people up here that miss him and all. Me, I'm like, whether you stay down there or come up here, you know, I was still, if he was dressed normally as a man, I would say, Dale, come on, let's go get something to eat. I'll pay. We'll sit down, have a chat, that kind of thing. You know, I'm not going to sit there and say, Dale, get on your knees or something. I'm not going to do sick shit like that. Like, you know, he's an okay guy. And there's a lot of guys out there that are gay, that dress in drag, and they act just as normal as you and I. But then there's a line where you got people out there that take it beyond that, and it becomes sexualized, and it starts to target kids. It starts to reel kids in and say, hey, it's normal for you to come out here naked. It's normal for you to come out here with just your genitals covered up, you know, and you're dancing around in the street. You know, it's normal for that. And that's what the LGBT movement is doing. And it's supposed to be a movement that protects and steers more towards gay people. But right, as you said, over the years, it's been bastardized. It's not even about gay people anymore. Like, yeah, you got gay people. Okay, we have a Pride Month. We wave the flag. We have our parades. Okay, you got a chance to celebrate. That's like when I look at Black History Month. Even Morgan Freeman said, why should Black History be limited to a month? Why can't we celebrate it every day? Same thing with Gay Pride. Why should Gay Pride be limited to a month? Maybe there's a reason for it, but it's like, well, the only pride that you should have is for yourself. If you are proud to be gay, if you're proud of the person that you are, if you're happy, there's your pride. You don't need a month to celebrate you being gay. You don't need a month, because basically that whole month is basically shoving an agenda down everybody's throats. And this past June, it's been an agenda targeting kids, trying to pervert kids, trying to turn kids, you know, in a negative way. And then when you have movies like Sound of Freedom come out, and it tells a strong, powerful story, and it shows what is going on behind the scenes with children being abducted and sold to trafficking rings for pedophiles. Pedophiles are paying money for them, buying them, and going, you know, traveling to foreign countries and using them as their own personal slaves. That's what the movie's about. And you got this guy that comes in, you know, he works for Homeland Security. Like, even in the movie, I don't know if he did it in real life. I know he said he's retired from it. but he quit his job in the movie to pursue after one child that has not been accounted for. He pursues after one child who is the sister of a brother who he has freed, who he has saved at the beginning of the movie. And he pursues this child deep into this Colombian jungle where no authoritarian figure is allowed to go in there except for doctors. So he ends up obtaining the identity and passport and everything of a doctor. He's going in with vaccines and shit. You know, the story that, oh, there's this outbreak of this virus going around. You know, we just want to test everybody. But he's going in there and he's looking for this girl and he ends up saving her. Now, does he end up shooting anybody in the movie? No. He doesn't kill anybody. He doesn't shoot. It's not an action thriller. You know, it's a true story. It's a dramatic thriller. You know, this guy, he is straight up, you know, he plays it smart. You know, he sets up, you know, he manipulates a lot of these pedophiles. You know, he shows like there's a scene where he gets with, I think it's like 5 or 6 of them, and they're all part of the ring. And he's talking about renting out or buying out this island and setting up as an island for pedophiles to, you know, they pay like, okay, $100,000 to visit the island and you have access to all these kids, that kind of stuff. So they set everything up and they wait till all these pedophiles are on the island. They wait till all these kids that they have attained are on the island. And he has these 2 teams set up in the ocean waiting to strike. And when they get all these kids on the island, when they get everybody in that they want, the teams come in and they do this big arrest, and they make it look like that Ballard is part of it. You know, like he doesn't sit there and say like, yeah, I set this all up, you know, but he's going down with them, you know. But it ends up to where they end up freeing them after they take the pedophiles out. You know, they have them detained and everything. But it's just one big powerful scene where this one guy, all this inside information, all this inside help, he saved 54 children in the process. He ended up saving 54 children. And the one guy that's with him, and he's like, do you hear that? And they're looking at all these kids having fun playing games with each other and shit. And he's like, you hear that? That's the sound of freedom. You saved these kids' lives. You gave them their freedom. And that is like, that's just like a happy moment in the movie right there. And that's just past the halfway mark. The movie's 2 hours long, and that's just past the halfway mark. You know, and I know there's videos out there of people leaving theater in tears. You know, they said that the movie messed them up because of the message being told, the story being told that this is happening to kids, and it's tragic. And of course, it's going to bring somebody to tears. You know, that this is actually happening, not just in other countries, but sadly, it's happening within our own country. And that's what a lot of Hollywood actors are out to do now, expose the sex trafficking ring going on out there in California, Hollywood, a lot of Democratic politicians, all these people. And of course, you know, like when I say fuck Disney, you know, of course Disney supports them. You know, Disney, hell, they're pissed off that the movie took number 1. They took number 1 spot away from Indiana Jones. It's like, oh my God, we paid out $300 million to make Harrison Ford look young again, and here comes Jesus Christ in the role of a guy who hates pedophilia. He hates pedophiles. He arrests pedophiles. Ugh. Well, fuck that movie. That's basically what they're saying.
Well, you already know what I think about Disney, right?
Oh yeah.
Ever since I was a kid, I always thought they were like the ultimate evil of the world.
Exactly. They have like a monopoly going on right now. Like they're buying up all these.
Now, when Disney first made like Disney World, Disneyland, stuff like that, and tried to call it the happiest place on earth, maybe that's what he was hoping for back then. Maybe that was his dream. I mean, sure, he's got skeletons in his closet too.
Yeah.
You know, but after Disney was gone, you can't tell me that's their same goal.
Exactly. There's always some kind of hidden conspiracy going on behind things like that. Like,
and I'm a good censor of bullshit, and every time I hear Disney, I immediately think bullshit.
Exactly.
So you can't tell me, that they're innocent. Ain't no way in hell.
That's like, and I know you've heard of it so many times. Like, look in the past with how many Disney movies that have come out, and I've heard this as a child too. And my aunt, she used to tell my dad all the time about certain Disney movies would have these little subliminal messages. Like, it could be somebody whispering something at a certain point in the movie, and you got to turn the TV all the way up to hear it. Or maybe there's a nipple slip somewhere in one of the little Disney characters or whatnot. Just like with the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Yes, it was released by Touchstone Pictures. Touchstone Pictures is a subsidiary of Disney, so it's basically a Disney movie. And there's a scene. You're not going to see it on DVD. You're not going to see it on VHS. If you are lucky enough to own Laserdisc, if you collect Laserdisc movies, go to the scene where, Eddie Valiant and Jessica Rabbit are escaping Judge Doom or something. I forgot how it was. And they come out of the Toon Tunnel. And of course, Judge Doom, he pours that whole tank filled with that toxic stuff. And it puts the animated car out of commission, and they spin out, and they fly out of the car. If you pause it at a certain point, and you go frame by frame on the Laserdisc version, you got a clean-cut, shaved beaver on Jessica Rabbit right there. You
remember that?
Yeah, you can see some cartoon pussy in that movie.
Actually, I think you can see it on YouTube.
Yep, people have uploaded on YouTube as well. You can, if you guys look up, just look it up on YouTube, you will see it. Oh, Jessica Rabbit Snatch, she's nice and shaven. Hey,
although you did make me chuckle a little bit when you had a hard time saying laser disc when you said laser dick, and I was like, yeah, you can only see it on laser dick. The extra naughty version.
Yeah, it was considered laser dick back then. It's like, stick your dick in a laser. Oh, yeah, there's a Jessica Rabbit Snatch. Let me shove my dick in the player. Oh, yeah. Just like I mentioned earlier with the whole thing with The Little Mermaid, like, everybody wanted to go ape shit. I don't even know if they did. I think it's just a liberal, made-up story that, the right-wingers, they're pissed off that The Little Mermaid is black. I don't give a shit if she's black. I'm still not going to watch it.
Did they forget that the original cover for the animated version had a dick on the box?
Oh, God. I think I heard about that. I forgot what character.
It was a big golden dick.
That's right. I do remember that. I seen it vaguely one time. Yeah, but yeah, that was talked about for so many years. Yeah.
Brought a whole new meaning to that song Under the Sea.
Tuna of the Sea. That sure smells like it. God, but with a movie like this, and like I've been saying, guys, it's a good movie. You guys need to see it. And I played the excerpt. Here's what I'll do too. Where is the shit, I close it out. I'll put this in the Tune In Live scraps tier as well. It's the after credit scene with Jim Caviezel speaking. And during the movie, during the credits, there's a code that pops up, and he's telling people, we're not out for money, it's not about financial gain or whatever, we want people to see this movie. Go see it. If they can't afford a movie ticket, if they can't, whatever, scan this code. It's a pay it forward code. If you scan the code on screen with your phone, your friend or family member can go see the movie for free. So you may be paying $10 for a ticket, when actually you're paying for 2 tickets, because you can scan the code. Okay, I got a free ticket. Maybe my friend wants to come now and see the movie. So you can pass it on to them. They can come get their ticket scanned. They can go see the movie as well. So the whole idea behind Caviezel's message is getting the story out there the way it's intended. They want people to see this movie. They want more people to know about the dangers of the underworld of child sex trafficking. They want people to know, hey, children are being bought and sold as slaves. And that's a sickening issue right there. They're being sold as slaves, sex slaves. And one of the biggest distributors, of course, is the United States, and that's sad. And as I stated,
the bad part is most Americans are oblivious to it.
Exactly. Because what's catching our attention nowadays? Aliens, Canadian fires, Donald Trump, DeSantis, of course, the occasional Joe Biden tripping over something and falling like an idiot. You know, just little stuff like that. Or recently, the almighty Ocean Gate. Talked about that the last time. The little fucking submarine that couldn't. That went 20,000 leagues into the sea. And...
Oh, you mean the submarine that imploded on itself and they knew pretty much immediately, but they kept it from us for like days?
Yep, that too. That was such a big thing in the media to cover up what was actually going on behind the scenes. And I was telling
a submarine does not disappear.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Without a trace. So as soon as I heard about it, I went, well, they're fucked.
Yeah.
As soon as it was gone, I went, they're fucked.
I mean, you gotta figure, like, under the water, and I've even said this, like, before they even came out and said, oh, we found it! We found the dead bodies! We found the remains of the submarine! But then, like, shortly after that, oh, the U.S. Navy and our supposed president knew about it Sunday, but we're just now broadcasting. And it's like, okay, so this...
You wouldn't have exactly found bodies. What you would have found was something that crushed like a tin can and just had a bunch of mush in it.
Yeah, you ain't gonna find bodies down there. Yeah, because...
I'm sure that might sound a little graphic to people, but that's the honest truth.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm sorry. I want people to know. That's exactly what happened.
Exactly.
Imagine a tin can crushing and whatever's in it becoming pretty much pudding.
It's like, I got an empty soda can right here. Maybe y'all can hear it. This is what happened 20,000 leagues under. That's what happened. That amount of pressure, that deep in the water. I mean, you got to figure you have got hundreds of thousands of pounds of water surrounding you. And the deeper you go, the more pressurized you're going to be under the water. People have done scientific studies on this shit.
And I can promise you one thing, and I know it's going to sound horrible, the deaths were not quick, and they were not instant.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they looked at each other and said, oh shit, this thing is collapsing. What do we do? I don't know. Kiss your ass goodbye? That's the best I can say.
They were dead before they could have drowned. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. Like, this can, it just didn't, like you said, it wasn't a quick thing. It was just a slow imploding. That's
except for the final part.
Yep. Like, imagine being in a garbage can and slowly being crushed. Like, you all remember those days back in the day where mom and dad or your neighbor had those metallic fucking garbage cans, and you're like, oh, let's have some fun. Let's go on top of the hill and roll Jimmy down the fucking hill in a garbage can. Imagine that. But you're not rolling. You're slowly...
I imagine it probably felt more like going into a wood chipper slowly while widely awake.
Yep. That's how it felt. Like, the whole thing, these five souls, and they were just doing. We're just going to look for the Titanic. The Titanic is at the bottom of the ocean floor. How many times have people seen it, you know, on TV? Like, James Cameron is praising the whole thing. He was like, I went down and seen the Titanic 15 times. I got the footage for the movie. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
That shit should be on GPS by now.
Exactly. Like, this motherfucker sitting there, well, when I filmed Titanic, I went down on a submarine and we did film. It's like, well, you probably had a much more sturdier and a stronger submarine than these guys had. They had a fucking tin can, that was made of aluminum. And
hell, he knew when they disappeared that it was over.
Yeah. And when I went on the website, I'm not sure if you listened to it that day when I did it. I went on the website, and they already had tours planned for like next year for the Titanic and something else. You know what? If I'm going to look that up again. I got to look it up because they said that they postponed a lot of their tours because of it. If anything, they will. Yep. If you go to OceanGateExpeditions.com, big old black page. OceanGate Expeditions has suspended all exploration and commercial operations. that just says a lot right there. That really does. Like, compared to when I was looking at it when I did the last podcast, and I was reading everything. I even tried calling the phone number and left a voicemail. I still ain't never got a call back from that number. But I left the voicemail there, and I'm reading through everything on the website. I'm watching the video, the little video guided tour of how the submarine looks, of what they used. And I knew it when the guy said that the thing was operated by a PlayStation 3 controller. I lost it.
Yeah, those things are notorious for malfunctioning. What the hell?
I've had several. I tell you one thing, they ain't sturdy either. They're not strong either. I threw me quite a few PlayStation controllers.
It would have been better using an original NES controller.
Yeah. That thing lasted longer than a fucking Nokia phone. Oh my god. Like they
I mean, it's horrible that we're laughing about this, but also at the same time, you really can't blame us.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's just the way the world works. Something horrible happens, jokes are bound to be made of it.
Yeah, look at how many memes have come out on Facebook and Twitter about it. Everybody was memeing the hell out of this situation. Like, yes, it's tragic that 5 people were badly crushed in a not so supported, well secure tin can. They were crushed obliviously to their death, hundreds of feet under the water. Just to see a sunken boat. You want to see
I mean, hell, think about it. Malaysia Airlines still has a plane that never came down.
Exactly. I'll be like, how are they running on fuel? Or are they just floating up there in the air? It's like, we got these strong breezes that come through here from periodically.
I don't know about you, though, but if I got on a plane, and this might sound mean to a certain race of people, but I don't mean it that way. It's just the way they pronounce the word. All right, if I hear the word pilot sound like pirate, I ain't getting on that plane.
I wouldn't either. Because when you hear the word pirate,
I don't mean it to be mean, but I'm just being honest.
I don't blame you. You hear the word pirate, you're like, uh-oh. It can't be captain. It can't be sire. No, it's gotta be a pirate showed up. Oh man, but yeah, like I was saying, the whole thing with the Ocean Gate, whenever all those people died, and they were going through the wreckage, and they were doing all this. That was the biggest distraction. In the news media, and the media, of course, they're paid off. They're paid to tell you what they want you to hear, while things are going on behind the scenes. But now, this month with the movie being out, going back to the movie being out, more and more people are going to see it. More and more people are doing reactions to it, doing reviews of it. And they're getting the word out there. And now a lot of Hollywood actors that are against, child trafficking in general You know, they're coming out, they're striking. You know, you got the Writers' Strike Guild going on, you know. Oh, we raises, we need better pay for this, da 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 da. Is that really the honest truth as to why they're going on strike? I mean, a lot of actors, like even Jeff was telling me the other day, something that Ice Cube said, and he has major respect for what Ice Cube said. And he was like, man, this guy's going to get himself killed. But you know what? He makes a goddamn good point. Let me look that up real quick on Twitter. Because I got to see what he just said, too. Let's see, Ice Cube. I wouldn't even know if he has oh, he does have a Twitter. Okay. Oh, Christ, I don't even know.
I don't know if you'll get the joke when I say this, but wouldn't it be funny if you got iced tea and Ice Cube to sit in a cup? And, like, take a selfie or something? How funny would that be?
And it wouldn't just be the meme. Like, that meme's been out for so many years.
That tells you how behind on times I am. I mean, come on, think about it.
Oh, shit.
How long did it take me to finally make an Instagram?
It's like, oops, lost it in minutes. Oh, well.
You know what I mean?
Oh, shit. Nope, I don't even see it.
Oh, man, the computers and calculators they have these days, right?
Oh, man, I don't even see much of it. I know he's talking about, like, the NBA and stuff here. That's all I see. I forgot what Jeff said. Jeff, if you're listening, comment what it was that you saw Ice Cube say.
Back in our day, we used to go outside and play with a stick in the dirt.
Yep. We had cowboys and Indians, and nowadays, oh, Indian, that's an offensive word toward the Native Americans. Oh, just like, the Washington Redskins? Oh, you got a better name for them? Yeah, the Washington, what the hell they call it? Washington Commandeers or some shit? Or Commanders?
Think about it this way, Mike. When we were little, some TVs were still made out of wood.
Yeah. Now they're made out of recycled garbage.
You know, some of them were made out of wood when we were still young.
I know. Like those were
my mom used to own a station wagon that had wood on the sides,
and they lasted longer. They were the best things made. They were more sturdier.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of giving our age away a little bit, you know. But
I know it's like I get up there in age now, and I look at the kids, and it's almost like I feel old and depressed, but then I feel kind of like happy and proud. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting there at the age where I can finally say, kids, back in my day.
Back in our day, when it came to video games, right, you had to use your imagination sometimes for the graphics.
Exactly.
Honestly, I think that's what makes the game so more memorable to us is we actually had to use our imaginations along with playing.
Exactly. That's where all the memories come from. Just like the other day.
Now I play a game and it's like, what did I play? I can't even remember the name of it anymore.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I can remember I can't really tell you what the very first video game I played. I can remember telling you, I remember playing Atari 2600. My dad had one. I was playing Donkey Kong. I was playing Asteroids. He had Asteroids on it. He had like 4 or 5 games for it. And
you know what the very first game I played was? It's notorious to this day, and boy, did you really have to use your imagination to play it.
Oh, yeah?
E.T.
Yep. I didn't play as a kid, but I did play as an adult. I know.
And there's still a copy floating around my dad's house somewhere.
It's saying, Tom, please pick me up and play me again. Give me another chance. I'm not that bad.
Oh, I would hook that shit up to a monitor and all, and I'd stream that shit.
Oh, hell yeah. I would too. God. Just like the other day, so I got my kids into Pogs, because a while back I bought a shit ton of Pogs from eBay.
God, I remember Pogs.
Yeah. And my stepdaughter, she was wanting to play some with me, because I gave her quite a few. So I'm sitting there, I'm teaching her how to play. I'm even playing videos on TV of how to play it. And we sat there, we played a little bit. And
ever realize how violent that game really is?
Oh my god!
You're throwing down a heavy-ass metal slammer.
And you're flipping milk caps all over the fucking room.
Exactly. Oh, I used to have the board for it. You know, like that little podium thing.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I used to have that.
It kind of looked like a poker board, sort of. You could
kind of.
You could put pogs, and you could have like up to 5 players, and each player puts up however many pogs they're willing to lose right there. This was like
what's a popular collectible nowadays? I don't think it's Funko anymore.
I don't think I don't want to say it's those little pop-it things that have the little bubbles on them that you pop back and forth. Oh god, I can't. I don't even know. Like, kids have so many fads nowadays. Like, even though they're so into electronics, and even Roblox. I think Roblox is starting to fade out for kids now.
Well, if there are any kids here, Mommy and Daddy told you not to be here in the first place. But
yeah,
Pogs were like whatever your favorite collectible is today.
Yep, Pogs were a big fad.
That's what we collected. You know.
Pogs was like gambling for kids.
That and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers.
That too.
That stuff was really collectible back in the day too.
Yeah, we had Pogs and that in elementary school. Then we got to middle school, and it was the big boy collecting. Like, I was in 7th grade, and I had a few friends that were collecting yo-yos. Like.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my god, like, yo-yos have been out for so many decades, but they made it so popular. Like, people had binders with certain yo-yos in them, and they were learning all kind of tricks and shit. And I even remember I got a couple good ones from a flea market one year, and I learned a couple tricks with it, but I wasn't going to do certain shit with them, you know, like people were doing in videos and competitions and all. I'm like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that makes me just throw it away, just throw it in trash. I can't do it anymore. That's like when you play guitar and you see somebody like E-Wing Valsteam or Dimebag Darrell, the way they fucking play on a goddamn fretboard, and you're just like, nah, I'm throwing my guitar away. I ain't gonna do that shit.
And I remember when the yo-yo was popular, my brother did a real good trick with it.
Oh, yeah?
He made it go up in the air and go through the back windshield of my mom's car. That was a hell of a trick.
Yeah, and I guarantee it was the last time he did that one too.
And I even told him not to do it. I told him not to throw the yo-yo up in the air. I watched it go up in the air. I watched it go over the car. And then you just hear me going, not the car, not the car, not the car. Smash the car.
Oh. That was a strong fucking yo-yo to go in the back window like that.
Yeah.
That son bitch had to be made of some titanium or some shit.
But I watched it go up, I watched it go over, I watched it go down.
Those things were indestructible. They're like Nokia phones.
Good God.
Shit you not. Avery got one from Five Below a couple days ago. It was a Pikachu yo-yo. And she tried doing a little trick, you know, she tried doing it up and down. And of course, the string where it's tied as a loophole for the finger, that snapped. So I tried to retie it the best I could. It still didn't hold it. I was like, okay, this string is shit. The whole yo-yo, I'm like, I hope your paw didn't pay $5 for this damn thing, because it's not even worth 50 cents. Like, they don't make shit like that the way they used to anymore.
I remember sometimes you had to use fishing line.
Yep. Oh, that's like kryptonite right there. It may tear through your fingers, kids, but that is stronger than what they put in yo-yos today.
Ain't that the truth?
God damn, like they don't, like, some of the stuff I look at today, it's kind of neat. Like, okay, we now have the world of virtual reality. Like, I have the Oculus 2, and that thing's pretty neat. You know, you can play games in virtual reality. Like, when I sat and played Resident Evil 4, it like up in my eyes, and it's in first person. I'm like, holy shit! Like,
that's a game I still gotta beat.
Oh my god. Imagine playing that, the original Resident Evil 4.
You got to remember, I'm a huge fan of the original 3 games, and 4,
Yeah.
I played it, and I was like, and then I got the remake, and it's like, I'm still kind of like remembering the original. I'm still going,
Yeah. I'll be.
I made it past the opening part. That's it. I haven't gone any further.
Yeah, I beat the remake 3 times. It's good. They did take a lot of different content out that was in the original, because the original is like a lot tougher. There's a lot more difficult puzzles to it and shit. And I'm just like looking at this like, okay, they made it simple. It's still hard. They made it simple. You can still go through. You could do this and that. Just like, okay, you could actually get an infinite rocket launcher in your second playthrough, but you gotta have 2 million in gold saved up. It's like, how the fuck do I do that? Oh, well, all the gems and jewels and treasures that you found, you can combine the gems with the treasures, and you can up the value for them. You could.
Oh, so they took a part out of Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, so you could sell all that, and a lot of the weapons that you have, like, there, of course, there's an achievement for acquiring all weapons, but are you going to use every single weapon in the game? Of course not. So whatever weapons that you have right now, you can upgrade those along the way. That ups the value. So I got to the second playthrough, and I learned about that. So I started selling all my treasures. I sold all the weapons that I had, except for maybe 2 or 3. Lo and behold, I had well over 2 million in credit. Plus, I had this little perk that attaches to your cash box that takes off 20 or 30% off of the value of the rocket launcher in the shop, and I was able to buy it for 1.6 million. And that's all I'm just going through the whole game with, is a damn rocket launcher that's infinite.
I'll eventually have to beat it.
But yeah,
I remember in the past I said something I wasn't gonna do. I guess you can say I'm a bit of a sellout.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Remember when I said I wasn't gonna get any of the new systems?
You got a new system?
I have all of the new systems.
Oh wow.
I'm looking at the Xbox One Series X from here, and the PS5.
Nice. So you're all
and
set
my
for that.
Switch.
Yeah, I finally broke down and bought a Switch back around Christmas time. I got the OLED, and
I don't care what anybody says. I might be 36 years old right now. I still play the fucking Pokemon games.
Yeah, I got Scarlet on mine. No, it's not Scarlet. I got Violet. I haven't beat Violet yet.
I beat Scarlet. I'm almost done Violet.
Okay. Yeah, because I need to go back and play Scarlet. I got Scarlet. I actually bought the new Zelda, and I probably played maybe about 6-7 hours into it, and I'm still somewhat at the beginning. I'm down on the main island, but I haven't really gotten too far into it yet.
I couldn't bring myself to pay $70 for Zelda.
Oh,
especially after I haven't beaten the
Breath of the Wild
first one.
Yeah,
I haven't beaten Breath of the Wild yet. I own it. I just haven't beaten it yet. You know, it's like when I learned it was going to be $70, it's like for a Switch game. It's like, are you kidding me?
Well, hell, the funny story behind this one. So I already had like $30 in store credit. So I was like, okay, that's going to save me a little bit of money right there. And then out of all the games that I have bought digitally on the Switch, and of course it has a certain point system that what Microsoft has. If you're part of the Game Pass program on there, if you do surveys, if you log in daily and do this and that, if you open up achievements, you earn currency points, and you can turn those points into either cash currency toward stuff you can buy on the store, you can buy gift cards, this and that. So I forgot how many points I had saved up on the Switch, but I turned that into currency, and I was like, okay, let's see, maybe about $2 or $3. No, it was about 20 or 30 bucks worth. I was like, holy shit! I paid $20 out of pocket for the new Legend of Zelda on payday.
Well, that's not bad.
Actually,
but I mean, that's just like the two next-gen systems I got, right?
Yeah.
I didn't pay full price for either one of them.
Oh, nice.
You know how much I paid for the PS5?
Let me guess, $10?
No. When I got the PS5, I got it brand new, right?
Yeah.
God of War edition, you know, the Ragnarok one, right?
Okay.
And then I got, what was it? Final Fantasy, Crisis Core Final Fantasy, what is it, Reunion or something they call it?
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Right? Not that, right? And paid $250.
Damn! Got a hell of a rebate on that.
Then, when it came to the Series X, I paid $300.
Nice. Damn, you get some good rebates on that shit. Compared.
Well, I found ways to knock the price down.
Oh, nice.
You know, I outsmarted the shit. You know, because it's like, for instance, right, at the time when I got the PS5, what had happened is I had a Series S at the time. All right?
Yeah.
And it was bugging the shit out of me that everything was purely digital.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, here it is, I have all these Xbox One games, and I can't play them unless I buy a digital version.
Yeah.
So that bugged the shit out of me. And then I went into, what is it? Empire Towers? Yeah, I live near Empire Towers.
Okay, you went to that one, yeah.
I went there, and they had a sign up saying, we have PS5s in stock. Right? And I'm thinking, please don't be digital. Please don't be digital. And they said the only ones they had in stock were the ones with the disc.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then I asked, well, how much would it be for me to trade this in? All right?
Uh-huh.
And then I thought, well, you know what? Me and my wife looked at one another and we're like, oh, we're trading that bitch in. Right? Came home, reformatted it, and then I found all the Xbox One games that I had physical copies of that I had bought digital copies of just so I could use the stupid system. Right? Traded them in along with it. And that's what knocked the price down so much.
Nice. Oh, shit.
Then, how I got the Series X is, I know this is going to sound horrible, but let's face it, they're going to be out of business probably in a few years anyway.
Yeah.
Same GameStop. Found out my Xbox one of the like HDMI ports things on it was messing up.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't want to read DVDs correctly for some reason. And I got it working again, but it was like, you know, this is a bad sign.
Yeah.
So I grabbed that, and then I grabbed copies of whatever PS4 games I had digitally, right, that I had physical copies of. Traded that shit in. And that's how I got the Series X.
Oh, wow. It all paid out in the end.
You know, and I was kind of looking at it like, you know, I really don't need the Xbox One if I have the Series X because it's just a glorified Xbox One.
That's all it is.
That's all it really was.
Oh.
You know, so that's how I did that. Now, will I be more willing to pay $70 for the next Nintendo system? Probably, because it'll be a current gen system.
Yeah.
You know, but this thing's already got a few years on these two systems.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I remember when Mel bought mine, and I was looking to get a new Xbox. I was looking to get the One S or something for my daughter for her birthday, and I couldn't find it anywhere. The only place you could find those were on like Amazon or eBay, but they were scalper prices at the time because they weren't making them anymore. So she said, well, since my tax money come in, I'll buy you the new console. You just give the old one to Peyton. I said, okay, she was wanting to do that. She was wanting to do that. I thanked her up and down for it and all. But we ended up paying $1,200 on Amazon for it because at the time you couldn't find them in any store, and online prices, they were skyrocketing. You couldn't find them on GameStop.com. You could find them on Amazon, but they were high up in price. So we found a good user on there that had good ratings. It's like, okay, we'll pay him the $1,200, and it was like, okay, it'll be there in 7 to 10 business days. Okay, it showed up 3 days later. I was happy as a pig in shit. I was like, damn, it is here, brand spanking new. Set it up, had everything hooked up and formatting and everything, and I had it setting up. And I still have it to this day. Yeah, it has its little quirks here or there. It's a new console. It's going to have minor flaws with it. But I'm like, I own it. I bought it. I have some minor pet peeves with it that I have disclosed, but Microsoft ain't going to deal with anything about it because they don't hear from the little people anymore. They don't care about us. But I'm like, is it too much to ask for a kill safe for the BIOS for when like an Xbox One copy of a game gets a Series X upgrade, that it doesn't force you to upgrade it to the next the next gen upgrade. You just ask do you want it or not, and be like, no, I want to keep playing the Xbox One version because I don't have space on my internal. It can play off my external flawlessly. Please let me keep that version. But it's like
that's what killed it. That's what killed the Series S for me originally.
Yeah.
Right. I could have lived with having to do the digital games, because I kind of get it now that the disc is nothing more than a fucking key nowadays.
Yeah.
Where you put the disc in and it lets you play the fucking game. But what killed it for me is when it was only a 512 gigabyte SSD in it.
Oh no.
And you're only getting to use 300 some gigabytes of that SSD.
Yeah.
And then you want to charge me close to $200 for a terabyte thing to hook in the back of it?
It's ridiculous. Like, that's what's killing Microsoft's marketing right there is, they don't understand, okay, you're selling a console to your typical everyday common gamer, a gamer that plays maybe only like 2 or 3 games. That's what you're selling a console for. But then when you got gamers that actually buy game after game after game, they play games and they're a true gamer like me, I have hundreds of games installed that, a lot of them I need to go and beat or even play. I have a whole library full. I got over 700 games installed between.
But you don't want to uninstall them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like,
because even with the SSDs, they tell you if you keep installing and uninstalling stuff on them, the heat that it produces will eventually wear down the SSD.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I don't like deleting games. That's why I always upgrade the shit in my computers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I run out of space, I buy a bigger thing to put in the computer.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to delete it because, I don't like having to uninstall and reinstall something, because if I want to play something, I want to be able to play it right then and there.
Yeah. And that, and that was my biggest issue. Is like, I don't even know how many games that have the XS upgrade. But it's like, now, okay, I don't uninstall them. I just transfer them to my external. But that's like an extra 10 to 20 gigs that is taken up with the upgrade. So if I want to play that game on the internal or even on the card I got, because I got I got a 1 terabyte card. Mm-hmm. And that takes up a lot of space too. So it's like, I got to transfer one game off, and that takes about anywhere between 10 and 15, maybe 20 minutes to transfer a game to the external, and then another 10, 15 minutes to transfer a game from the external to the internal, just so I could play that. And it's a pain in the ass. Like, whatever happened to the convenience of having a game, whether it's physical or digital, having the convenience at hand to just be able to click on it and go right into it. It's like nowadays you got to have an upgrade for it, you got to have an update for it, and it's a pain in the ass. It's like it makes you want to revert back to the days of, well, I got an N64, I'll pop in Wave Race, I'll pop in Super Mario, turn it on, boom, I'm in the game. Or if,
back then we didn't have DLC. You know what DLC was? The sequel to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like when
we were happy.
Yeah, when you look at a game like Resident Evil 2, okay, the remake came out a few years ago. The remake is still phenomenal. I'll still go back and play it, and I can't remember if it had any DLC to it, but it had updates and shit. But you know what? Back in the day, when Resident Evil 2 came out on PS1, that had a shit ton of content for it. It was 2 discs. It was 2 discs. Yep. One disc was Leon, one was Claire, and you had to, in order to get the full experience of the story, you had to beat Scenario A with one of the characters, then go back and play Scenario B with the opposite character, and you open up Extreme Battle Mode, which is a mode where you can select one of different characters and complete objectives, you know, and you beat that. Or you beat...
So if you think about it, Resident Evil 2 back in the day was technically 5 games on 2 discs, because you had 2 different versions of Part A, you had 2 different versions of Part B, then you also had, like you said, the mercenaries.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like, it had the Extreme Battle Mode, it had the Fourth Survivor, which was the Umbrella Operative you could play as, and then you had the secret character, the Tofu character, which did the same thing, but it was a lot more challenging. You were a fucking piece of food running around with a fucking knife, making little bubbly noises, but you had so much content packed into one game, 2 discs, and there was a lot of playability to it. Like, if you got the game guide for it, it told you how many times you had to beat the game, on what difficulty, what limited time you had, what rating, in order to unlock the next content. Or if you were a cheater like I was, or anybody else was, you had Game Shark, you had Code Breaker, infinite ammo, here we go. Or maybe you want to unlock the extra modes. Okay, unlock Extreme Battle Mode. There you go. You know, back in the day, we had so much to work with, and a lot of people either worked to figure out certain things, or you had magazines and gaming guides that had the shortcuts for it, and if you were lucky enough to buy one of those or go to a library and rent one out, check one out, it's like, oh shit, let me see. Game Informer, not Game Informer, there was Game Pro, there was a couple others that had a game cheat section, and I always went to the library and checked those magazines out, and I would bring them home and I would look through. I was like, oh, I have this game, and I would write down those codes.
No.
That, or I rip the pages out and keep the pages to take the magazine back.
I mean, I know I kind of got us off topic, but
I know.
But in a way, it kind of reverts back to what we were talking about in a way, because also back then, you didn't really hear about this stuff. You know, like what we were talking about with like this movie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's also because we didn't have social media and stuff like back then.
Exactly. All of our content came from the news, newspaper, even the internet was in its very early states.
And back then, it was more or less ignorance was bliss back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You didn't know about all the stuff that was going around in the world, and it wasn't that you were actually being ignorant to it, it was you weren't being told.
Yeah. And nowadays, like today, you have access to all types of information out there, whether it's whatever the media is forcing you on the news or on the internet. People have ways of learning what is going on out there in the world. You like, okay, going back to what we were talking about, Ocean Gate. Ocean Gate was taking the attention of everybody. Okay, while that was directing everybody's attention, what was going on behind the scenes? You look deeper in the internet, and you see, okay, Biden signed this, Biden signed that, this happened, that happened. And if you look on places like TikTok or Instagram,
Hunter Biden went to trial.
Yep, that happened. He pleaded guilty to his thing. Then weeks later, cocaine shows up in the White House. But guess what? Nobody took blame to it. Nobody took accountability to it. They don't know whose coke it was. We do. You had
Cocaine,
yeah.
White House.
Biden.
No, I'm putting two and two together. Get it? Because cocaine's usually White House.
Yeah, of course.
The signs were there.
It was, everything was there. and the internet is the tool for like, okay, I see what's going on now. So now it's like, you know, comparing to back then, you know, we were sitting there in front of our TVs. Like, if back then, if our local news station said aliens are hovering in the air, they're right above us, we were scared shitless. We had fucking tinfoil hats on and shit, and we were like, oh god, they're coming to invade us. Are they friendly? You know, like, who are they? And then over the past 20, 30 years, you know,
and then the friends that you were questioning about their sexuality back then, you were wondering if they're in the backyard bent over hoping for them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's like we were making fun of them back then. It's like, yeah, that was fun and games. Like, I know a lot of us weren't trying
back then, you didn't know if your friend was gay or not.
Yeah. Because back then, to a lot of people, it was questionable. It was like, yeah, I feel funny about you. But nowadays,
you didn't know until they spent the night.
Yeah. I had that one friend, and he lived up the street. And another friend of mine, he was spent the night with him one night. Because we were all hanging out at his house that afternoon. We were listening to music and playing games and shit like that. And I went home. So the one kid, Tommy, he spent the night with him. And the following day, my friend came up. His name was Travis. He came up and he said, man, never again is Tommy going to stay the night at my fucking house. I said, what happened? He said, he got weird on me last night, man. We're sitting there trying to sleep, and he keeps bringing up all kind of shit. You know, he's like, I was like, Tommy, go to sleep. Go to sleep. When we wake up in the morning, we'll figure out what we're going to do. Just go to sleep. And he's just sitting there, you know, he's keeping me awake, and he's saying some random shit. And then he just randomly came out and said, you know, I always thought about giving another guy head. And he was like, oh, no, you get the fuck out of my room. He's like, this motherfucker said, man, I always thought about giving another guy head. He's like, dude, why? Why would you say that? It's like, I don't know. I just thought of it. It's like, get the fuck out of my room.
At least he was upfront about it. Could have been worse. Could have been just been like, how long have we known each other?
Yeah.
Right? And then went, you want to rub your wieners together?
Let's play swords in the bathroom. Oh, no.
Oh, God. I get my wife with that every time we go to the restaurant with friends or something like that. I'll go to the bathroom and I'll come back, right? And I'll sit down, right? And they'll go to say something. I'll go, hey, is it weird if some dude in the bathroom asked me if I wanted to play swords?
Huh?
Like, you son of a bitch.
You know what? Huh?
She knows I'm doing it for shits and giggles. You know, but I'll say it real loud. I've done that.
I hope Mel, if you're watching, I'll just be ready. I'm going to do that to you one next time we go out to eat. I'm gonna take everybody by surprise.
I was on stream with Tom, and Tom asked me if we wanted to play swords in the bathroom.
This one time on Twitch. I always say, you know what? We're going to hell anyway.
I'm not making fun of anybody who's,
I know,
you know, gay or anything.
Trust me.
You know, I do these jokes. I even do this towards them sometimes,
and they like it.
You know, well, the thing is, I had I used to have a gay roommate.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not going to lie, I had a lot of medical problems happening at one point, and I actually had a colonoscopy at one point. All right? And I was wide awake for it. They didn't sedate me for this.
Oh.
Because they realized they were doing something else and realized I had a high pain tolerance, so they asked my permission. And I figured, well, you're already looking at stuff, so what the hell? Whole time they're doing it, I'm cracking jokes. I actually had the nurse and the doctor laughing because I'm watching this on a screen. So I'm seeing what the camera's seeing, right?
Yeah.
And I went, wow, we're filming Journey to the Center of My Ass. I just said it real loud. They bust out laughing, right? And my mother took me to this because I probably 20 at the time.
Yeah.
You know, and my car had just broken down, so my mother had taken me to this procedure thing, right?
Yeah.
And I had her laugh when she went to drop me off, because she said, well, what are you going to say to everybody? I said, well, when I see my roommate, I'm going to tell him, dude, I don't know how the hell you did it. Yeah. You know what?
Oh, shit.
And sure enough, when I saw him, I said that. His jaw dropped open. My wife was girlfriend at the time. She fell over laughing. I got him again good over at my father's house.
Oh, wow.
This is when he tried to play straight uber Christian guy. And I hate it when people are not true to themselves.
Yeah.
Right, and I could tell he wasn't being true to himself.
Oh, yeah.
Right in front of my father. He said something, he went, well, that's gay, or something like that, right? And it's like, I'm getting tired of him doing this. So I just looked at him, you know, and I'm not going to call him by his name or anything, but, you know, I went, so-and-so, you can be a lot of things in life, and people won't remember it. Right? But you suck just one cock, you're a cocksucker for life. I said it, his jaw dropped, my dad fell over laughing.
Oh, shit.
Sure enough, he now lives in Delaware with his husband.
Oh, shit. And he probably looking back, he's probably, you know, just retreading his life. He'd be like, you know what? This one guy called me a cocksucker for life. And he's probably sitting there doing it too. Every time he does it, I'm like, you know what? What was that guy's name? who said I suck cock for life? And he probably says it laughing too. He probably sits there with a smile on his face. Yeah, man, I miss that guy.
Well, this will tell you how comfortable I am with my sexuality. All right.
Oh, shit.
My ex, right, kept trying to break me and my now wife up, right?
Yeah.
Back then, right? So I got together with him and I said, I got a plan.
Okay.
And I said, we're going to go into the mall, you know, Marley Station Mall, right?
Yeah.
And I said, we're going to act gay. Sure enough, she come in the mall, right? And I told him, hey, come here, right? And I said, put your arm around me. Right? So I put my arm around him too, right? And then we started skipping. All the way to the front door. I kid you not, right? Then she tried to call me for something later that day. I let him answer my phone. Right? And he started going off on her and this and that, going, how dare you try to interfere with my sex life and this and that. Me and my wife are in the background on the floor trying to laugh under our breath so we can't be hurt. As he,
oh, shit.
She actually thought she hurt me gay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's like, oh god. This one guy that was friends with my brother, his name was Gage. When he lived down here, and he was friends with this kid across the street, the guy across the street, that guy's in jail now. He knew him, and then of course
His last name wasn't Herbert, was it?
Nah, he might as well be. So
did he have a popsicle in the cellar?
He probably did. I never even checked. So there was this guy that was married to my ex's aunt. His name was Dan. He had these kids, Daniel, Adam, and Jeffrey. And I forgot who started it at one point. Oh, it was my brother. My brother was using my ex-sister-in-law's phone at the time to message Gage and fuck with him. And he was like, yeah, it's Jerry, man. Jerry that lives across the street from Mike. Yeah, I was just with, I forgot which one of the brothers it was. I think it was either Jeffrey or Adam. He's like, yeah, they were just over here, and he gave me the best head I ever had, man. I mean, he sucked me off, and I came, and all this, and yeah, it was so good. So I was in on the joke too. You know, my brother told me about it. I was like, oh Christ, did he believe me? He's like, yeah. He was like, what? You serious? Oh my God, that's insane, man. And I was just laughing at, you know, he just believed anything that was told to him, right? So I'm at the library one day and he shows up. He's like, hey, Mike, I just heard some shit, man. I was like, what? What's wrong? He's like, yeah, Jerry that lives across the street from you, right? Yeah. He just told me some shit. He said that that Adam was over his house the other day and he was giving him blowjobs and shit. And I wanted to fucking laugh. I was so bad, wanted to tell him that he got had, but I'm just going along with it. I was like, damn, you serious? Like, yeah. He's open to me all about it. He said he made him come and everything. He said that it was the best he ever had, and he was talking about wanting to take it in the ass, and he was like, nah, I think I'm done for the day or some shit. I'm just like, oh damn, that is messed up, man. He's like, man, I know. And he's telling me about it and all. Like he was so happy. He was all for it and shit. And after that, that's when he took off. He left, and I just like, I so wanted to call my brother because I was in the middle of work. I was like, nah, I'll wait till I get home and tell him. And I was told, we were all fucking in tears laughing. I was like, he fucking believed the hell out of it. Like, you were trolling him, and he shows up and he's telling me at work, dude, Jerry got blown. Adam blew Jeffrey. I was like, God damn. I just couldn't hold, like, for years he believed that. I only remember if anybody told him that you know, my brother was just fucking with him, but he believed that whole thing. I was like, oh my God, that was just so much, because Gage was known for bullshit. You know, he was one of those bullshit liars. You know, he was that guy. He was that friend that would tell you, hey, I'm on my way to your house. And he literally did this shit to me one day because he was planning on coming over to play Call of Duty. And I was like, yeah, where you at, man? Oh, I'm right up the road. I'm about 5-10 minutes from you. I'm coming down Hammond's Lane, man. I was like, okay, cool. I'll see you then. Half hour goes by. I'm like, dude, where you at? Oh, I'm down here by B&A, man. I got sidetracked. I met with a buddy of mine, but I'm on my way back now. I'll see you in a bit. I was like, okay. So I'm waiting. Hour and a half go by, and I'm like, you know what? This motherfucker ain't showing up. So I messaged him. I was like, where you at? Oh, I'm at my house now. I'm like, I thought you were coming over. Yeah, I was. I was close by. I'm like, motherfucker. So come to find out that day, he was actually at the mall with some friends of his. See, this motherfucker was messaging me, telling me that he was near my house and shit. He's actually at the mall hanging out with some friends of his. I'm thinking, this is why I hate motherfuckers that say shit like that. Where they're like, oh, I'm right around the corner from your house. I'll be there in a minute. And they're somewhere else. They're like fucking 10 miles down the road, you know, getting something. You know, like, you motherfucker. And that's what led to that shit. That's what literally my brother was like, oh, I'm going to fuck with him this time. And that's when he said that message about, you know, all that bullshit. And he believed the fuck out of it. That's like good times. But that goes back to what you were saying. Like, back then, we could fuck with our friends. You know, like, nobody gave two shits. Everything back then was like, you know, you either took it or you didn't. But nowadays, people get so offended. You know, people get so offended, and they're like, "Oh, I don't find that funny. I'm not funny." I'm like, "Well, you'll look on the internet and you'll see a meme and you'll react to it." But there was somebody who has that sick, twisted humor that everybody knows and loves, and you're like, "Oh, I don't find that funny. That's too offensive."
The way I see it nowadays, if you can take a cock, you can take a fucking joke.
Exactly. That's why I look at it, like a lot of gay people out there. Like, you know, I've had some gay friends. You know, they're some of the most hilarious motherfuckers you ever meet. You know, and they look at this whole LGBT agenda shit, and they're like, "This ain't for me." They don't do shit for me. You know, it's like they say they're for me. They say they support me, but all they're doing is they're focused on kids. They want to turn kids around. They want to say, "Oh, kids, when they come out of the womb, oh, they don't know what gender they are. They don't know if they're man or they don't know if they're a boy or girl. They need to decide that when they get a little bit older." Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you even got doctors and shit that are saying.
But it also used to be back when we were younger, right?
Yeah.
When we shit on one another, not literally, just for anybody listening.
Yeah.
Right, but when we would like talk horrible about one another or something like that.
Yeah.
We're pretty much, if we didn't pick on you, we didn't like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we picked on you, it meant we considered you one of us. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like
it was like an unwritten thing that we all did.
And it's like nobody was doing it to be mean. You know, it's like, you know, that's how everybody fucked with each other. That's where pranks came from. That's what people were doing. But nowadays, they look at it as like, "Oh, well, I don't find you funny. That's offensive. You know, you're picking on me. Like, you're picking on gay people." I'm like, find me one gay person that I can pick on, that I can fuck with. And they laugh about it and they say, "You're a good person." And that would trigger anybody on the left. That would trigger any woke motherfucker out there.
I know.
And that's the...
They act like you can't joke about anything.
Yeah. And it's like... whether it's BLM, LGBT, any of those agendas that are paid for, that are funded, you know, and then they're promoting the wrong shit, they're the ones that are getting offended. You know, them, anybody on the left, you know, what you go woke, you go broke, that kind of shit. Anybody on that side of the spectrum, they look at us like we're the offensive ones. But it's like, okay, well, when it comes to racism, we're not referring to racism. Shit, we got black friends that'll crack racist jokes with us, and we could do it back with them, but they don't get offended. But that's what offends them, because if it doesn't fit their agenda, it doesn't fit what they see as, you know, in their eyes as it should be. That's offensive to them. You know, it doesn't follow.
Nobody's allowed to have a different opinion nowadays.
Exactly. That's why people take the shit to the internet, but then even on the internet, you get censored. You can sit there and say, "Oh, well, I hung out with my black friend today." Well, you know, not in this certain particular, like if you took it in a certain way, like, "Yeah, me and my black friend, we hung out today. You know, we were hanging like two chips in a tree or some shit. You know, that kind of thing." You can't be funny like that anymore. You can't be satirical like that anymore. You know, because you got somebody that always sit there and be like, "Okay, well, that's racist. We got to flag it. That's racist. That's, you know, that doesn't fit social media anymore," and they take it down. They flag it. You know, it's...
You know, but that's like with me when people, you know, not too long ago kind of go, "Whose side are you on? Whose side are you on?" Right? I'm on my own fucking side.
Yeah.
I don't side with anybody.
Exactly. I see that.
And what that means is I'm gonna do what I want, when I want, say what I want, and if you don't like it, go fuck yourself.
Yep. And
because to me, you're insignificant, because I don't even fucking know who you are.
Yeah.
So if I don't even know who you are and you get offended, guess who doesn't fucking care? Because I don't know you.
Yep. Exactly.
And chances are, if I do know you, I probably still won't give a fuck.
And,
you know?
and what's funny about what you said with that, like, on YouTube, there's certain quote-unquote communities that are the exact same way, where they talk with each other, in what they call live panel sessions, live streams where they're arguing about each other, arguing with each other. They're siding with this side, they're siding with that side, and they're like, oh, well, if you don't side with us, you're a piece of shit. If you side with them, da-da-da. It's like, you all are what, adults? You're like 30, 40, 50 in your 50s, and you're arguing with each other about who could talk to who and shit. And then you're sitting there slandering people left and right on a video streaming platform, on a fucking website. And the saddest thing of it is, you all don't know each other. You don't.
That's when you tell both sides to just take their hate boners, bend each other over, and go fuck one another.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's exactly what I would tell them.
That's like with me and you. We've known each other since, 2010, 2011. Like, we fuck with each other a lot. We joke with each other and shit.
I mean, we've had moments where people have tried to cause drama between us, but we found out it was other people's doing.
Exactly.
You know?
Because there's a difference between, like, you and I versus people that I see online going at each other's throats. I'm like, okay.
But it was like the whole last thing that happened to us before we figured out what happened, with the whole Twitter thing.
Yeah.
Right? Which you do realize I have a new Twitter now.
Oh, I didn't even know. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I shut down the original Twitter and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even post anything. I just do it to strictly follow people.
Okay, yeah.
Point. But because of the hacking that happened and stuff like that caused the trouble. You now know that if I had a problem with you, I would say it to your face, not online.
Exactly.
I wouldn't do that. That's petty.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have been mean about it either. If I got a problem with you, I'll come to you and go, dude, I didn't really like this. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I'd explain why I didn't like it, but I'm not going to be a dick about it all because I didn't like it.
Yeah, you're always straightforward.
Yeah, I didn't like this, and then I would hear your side, and if we still disagreed, I would have been like, well, okay.
Yeah.
And we would have got over it.
You were always straight.
I mean, it wouldn't have turned into this whole thing that somebody was trying to get to happen.
Yeah, you were always straightforward about it, and you found out who it was, and of course it's somebody from our past. It's like, oh, this person's part of that community. They're coming back and saying, oh, well, let me do this. Let me do this. Somebody who figured out how to hack you and said some dumb shit.
Well, I gotta admit that's mostly my fault, still due to the fact that I didn't know anything about this second factor stuff. You got to remember, I don't know a whole lot about this shit.
Yeah,
what I mean? But as soon as you guys told me how to do it, I went through everything else and figured out how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's actually what made me figure out where it came from.
And you figured it out, and you addressed it and all, and now you don't have any of those issues anymore, yeah.
No. Nope. So even the new Twitter's got, extra protection and shit to it.
Yep. That's why when it comes to a lot of that kind of stuff, that's why now they enforce, not really enforce, but they offer the two-step factor to make sure that your safety and your identity is safe online, that nobody can hack into your accounts, they can't do this and that. And that's another thing that people don't, they don't take account for. They don't understand or know that there is a safety feature. Because I see a lot of high school friends that will come out and say, yeah, my account was hacked. I got to make a whole new account. Okay, that's fine. Make a whole new account. But there's also a factor that you can enable to where you won't get hacked anymore, that nobody can attempt.
And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because that was something they implemented, like years after I had already made these accounts.
Yeah.
So I didn't know.
Exactly.
But I also have another smart-ass way to get people, if I have a feeling that something's going to get hacked. I'll change the password to something insulting towards them.
I've done the same thing.
I did that to one of my accounts to see if it was hacked or not, where I changed it to where my password would, my penis is bigger than yours.
I have done that. I can't remember how many times I've done that. And I think to Steam, too. With Steam, I have to have a code sent to either my email or I got to access my phone for it. Dude, my Steam account is always attempted on like a weekly basis. I'll get email after email saying, "Oh, somebody has tried to access your account," and I'll look at the IP address. It'll be from some other country and shit. I'll sit there and laugh about it. I was like, "Oh, somebody just tried to hack in my Steam account." Oh, but yeah, 6 times.
I have everything linked to an authenticator on my phone.
Same here.
You know, that way you need to be able to get in through my authenticator.
Yep. And that's how I got mine set up. I got it set up through email, text message, which luckily I don't get any text messages, but it all comes through an authenticator like you do. So it's like, okay, you got to have access to my phone to get into my account. But if not, well, you ain't going to get it. Tough luck.
Yep.
But damn, almost 3 hours into this. Holy shit, we spent a lot of time talking about a lot of good things today.
Been a long time since I've been on a podcast.
Yeah, I know. Almost makes you want to be like, fuck it, I'm going to get back into this shit.
Well, you saw the post on Instagram that I made where I said sometimes I miss the podcast.
Oh yeah, and it's always an open thing. You know, yeah, it's like. That's like with me, like, sometimes where I feel like, I don't feel like doing it. Well, sometimes now it's like I either don't have time or I try to find time to squeeze something in somewhere.
Well, the problem with Through the Doorway is it's so much work.
It is, because you got to do a whole lot of
work.
Yeah, because you got to do a whole lot of research into something. You got to know what you're talking about, and especially getting people on board with it.
And part of the problem was the older way that we used to do it was fun, you know, because we put in our own opinions and stuff like that. But then when I tried to revamp it and stuff like that, it became more factual, where we were just like spouting out facts like almost nonstop, that it got really boring.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not what I wanted it to do. I wanted to make sure the facts were there, but it just... I don't know if it's just because of how I was running it, or I just didn't have the right people with me. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
I mean, me and my wife made it pretty interesting a lot of the times.
Yeah. Especially, you know, something like that, you know, because a lot of people, they have podcasts where... Even if it's horror related, they'll share stories, or they'll do something that, you know, what we were doing. You know, they'll look at they'll look into, you know, the research and the facts of this and that, and then they'll give opinions, or they'll read up on it. You know, I guess I don't know if it's the delivery or if it's how something is ran. It can be different factors, but you were still doing something good. Like, one thing I did love that you actually figured out that I had to look up and figure out on my own is you had a dual cam going with you and the wife, and then Loki and his wife, and I was like, that's something that.
And then I saw yours set up, and I went, how did he split the cameras apart? And I had to look at how to do that.
Exactly. Like, it
was funny.
It's like, it was a little bit of work to do it, but like, I even got it set up on my own. Like, I got a couple setups here for, you know, TuneIn Live video feed, even the other side video feed, and it all comes through Discord. And I try to promote, and I try to promote Discord as much as I can, because it's like, you know, you could do video casting. You could cast, you know, like whether it's a video game stream or something, or, you know, you could have multiple cameras going on at once, and you could pick them up. You could shrink the screen. It's neat how you could do that. It's a little bit of work doing it, but it can be done, and I've tested it, and I was like, okay, so this is how it's done. And it gets easier and easier. Just like recently, I sent a couple videos to Jeff on how to clean up, you know, Streamlabs setup, how to set this and that up, and he did pretty good. You know, he learned a lot. He learned a good bit. You know, I sent him videos, and he learned how to do certain things on his own. Just like the other day, we ran a stream on his channel. We were doing Phasmophobia, and everything came out perfect. Now, somewhere on his end or my end, I guess I had the audio a little bit too high. Like I was acting like a little bitch. I was screaming and shit into the microphone playing the game. And he was like, yeah, I had to edit. I was getting a headache from you screaming and all, but everything, it all turned out pretty good. You know, it was fun. You know, he had it set up really well. And I even had it playing on my end. I was saying, yeah, you got the audio coming out really good. Everything's outputting very well. So you did a good job, you know, like, you know, on his end, yeah, he said he has to tweak a couple things audio-wise. But other than that, everything was pretty good. So it's like, once you learn how to do certain things, and then you get doing it, and then you start learning some other things as well on your end, it's like, okay, I could do this, I could do that. You know, I could add this here, that here. It's like, okay, this looks like a good idea. This looks like a good setup, and we can roll with it. And that's where I go. You know, I self-teach myself, you know, with a little bit of help with, you know, somebody on, you know, YouTube or whatever. But a lot of this stuff is self-taught. You know, once you learn the basics for it, and then you get into experimenting when you're with yourself, and you're like, okay, I like where this is going. I can do this, and I can have this looped with that. And then you get into testing it, and you're like, okay, this is it. This is what I want set up. This is how I want to do it. And that's where I went with a bunch of different settings I got set up on here. I just hope at one point when Streamlabs updates, you know, because there's like sometimes where it'll update and it'll mess up your settings, and you got to go back and you got to redo this and do that. And I'm always dreading that, where it's like, okay, it's got like 200 updates it's going to download. So I'm wondering what it all fucked up in it. And I got to go back and redo. But luckily, so far, I've been lucky and nothing's been changed and around and all. So it's been pretty good so far. But,
yeah. It's like Loki and his wife are hoping that I'll bring back a different podcast now. They keep trying to convince me to do it, but I don't know if I want to.
Oh, yeah. I guess what?
They're hoping I'll bring back the URC podcast.
Damn. Yeah, that was always a really good one right there. But you had it running pretty good. Like, when I was doing it, like, yeah, we were having a little bit of fun with it. Like, sometimes there was just randomness to it. How you had your first episode with Tim, where it was just random talking in the background. Just, like, talking about Whitey down the street and talking about your fishing pole and shit. But then you turn it into topic-wise, and that ran pretty good right there. You pick a topic and say, okay, today's topic is crushed soda can. Go!
Well, what happened was Tim was secretly recording us.
Oh, that's why.
And I didn't catch that he did that until he played it back.
Yeah.
So to be a smartass, I decided, you know, I'm going to post it to YouTube. And it was only after I posted it to YouTube and listened to it, I went, you know, I could add a format to this and turn it into a podcast.
Yeah.
And since it was literally utter random crap that we were talking about, I went, that's the perfect name for it.
There you go.
You know, and I just call it URC for short.
Yeah. And that's what made it big. It was really good. Like, whether, you know, you were running it or I was broadcasting it over here at times, you know, it ran pretty good. You know, we talked a lot about a lot of different things. There was a lot of different laughs, a lot of good laughs and shit. And it was fun. It was a fun format.
But we also didn't actually have to look up anything for it. That was the beauty of it, is we could just say whatever the hell we wanted.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, even if we were talking about, let's say, okay, Ocean Gate, go. Okay, it's a submarine that sunk to the bottom of the ocean. They were looking for 100-year-old ship at the bottom of the ocean. What do we know about it? People died, soda can crushed. It went...
Soda can crushed. Brought to you by Coca-Cola.
Yeah, this ship is funded by Coca-Cola. Or maybe it had Sam's Cola written underneath it.
Oh no, it was brought to you by Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. Oh! There's a URC for you right there.
There's the punchline for the Ocean Gate. Brought to you by Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. But unfortunately for
Worst
them,
thing I've said this whole podcast. And I'm proud of myself.
It's like, welcome back.
Oh my god.
Oh shit. But I see we hit the 3-hour mark officially, guys. I'm going to go ahead and close it off. I want to thank our buddy Cypher for coming in here and joining me for today's lovely episode of Tuned In Live.
I think any of you missed me.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think everybody missed you.
Although that one guy that asked to play swords with me in the bathroom that was dressed like a Jedi, why was it green? Why was it green?
Maybe we'll find out next time. Maybe he dipped it in algae and said, "Let's grow." It's green. It glows in the dark too. Turn the light off.
God, now I'm picturing two people dressed like Jedi and Sith in a bathroom with glow-in-the-dark paint on their junk. One red, one green, and you just have them with the lights off, and you just hear them making noises.
What are y'all doing in here? Cosplay?
Janitor walks in and sees one of them. Oh, the force is strong with this one.
The force just flows out strongly. Here it comes. Oh shit! But yeah, I like
Let it go through you.
Let it flow.
Oh my,
young Padawan. Shit. Oh, but do like the.
You see why I'm a shit example for a reverend?
It's like, I'm a professional when I'm in the suit, but when I'm out of the suit, I'm the devil's sidekick.
Well, in the suit, the horns hold up the halo. What are you talking about?
There you go. You can see it. Just put your special glasses on and you'll see it. Oh, but anyway.
I see it now. God's looking at us going, what have I done?
They have reunited. The bond is strong. They're sitting there talking about each other's genitalia and Star Wars. That is not a good combination, but yeah, it makes a good topic, don't it? Oh,
God, it reminds me of the bloopers for Through the Doorway.
Oh, God.
Remember where it's like, today on Through the Back Door.
and Mike kept sitting there talking and shit. It's like, okay, we're going to do it. I'm like, oh, God. I'm sitting here trying to do the introduction every time I talk, and it's like, oh, yeah. Then...
I remember that.
Oh,
and I just couldn't stop laughing every time he did it.
Oh, Mike, where art thou? I know you're doing good down there with your life, man. Damn, we miss you up here.
Oh, and of course we can't forget the Doritos commercial.
You know what? We are going to have to do another one of those sometimes.
I had an idea for a Snickers commercial back when they did those things where they were like, "You're not yourself when you're hungry," right?
Yeah.
I was gonna have it where I was gonna like be picking on you and going, "Come on, Mike, fight back! You're not yourself when you're hungry," and hand you a Snickers, and then you turn into Michael Myers with a knife all of a sudden, and like right when the Snickers, when they say grab a Snickers, you just hear me go, "Hush!" You come at me with a knife. I thought that would have been hilarious.
Well, Halloween is coming up. And I'm sure Mel will be like, go for it, go do it.
Maybe we'll redo a Doritos commercial, but we'll leave a certain out of it.
Yeah, he's out.
That way
he's
it
outplayed.
can be used for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But yeah, I want to thank Cypher for being here today. You're always welcome, man. Wherever I'm live and all. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. I know one particular troll was trying to make himself famous, but I thanked him early. I was like, thank you for the views and thank you for the comments. You really did test out my comment section and my Be Right Back section. So I'm like...
Oh, the one about the GoFundMe?
Yeah. I know who it is, but I'm like, hey, thanks for the view, buddy. I sure do appreciate it.
Why do I have a feeling I know who it is, too, for some reason? It seems so familiar.
He tries to act like a certain somebody, but it's not really that guy. But I know exactly who it is. And...
No, what I'm saying is I'm thinking of the same person, probably, because they're trying to act like one person, but it's not quite on par.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, something's telling me, it's not the person that you would think it is.
Yeah.
Well,
I can tell you it's not a certain somebody from the UK. I already know that, so it's not that person, somebody else.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah, that person he fucked off long ago, so he's old news. But this person he's dying for acknowledgement.
Maybe he was the Jedi in the bathroom.
He probably was. He had a glowing green pecker. Let us know.
It might have been growing. I'm not sure.
Maybe that it was the source behind the glow. When you grow, you glow. There we go. There we go. Hold on. Where's Twitter? Oh shit!
Wait a minute. Where's Spreadshirt? Put it on a t-shirt.
There we go. Quote of the day.
Like a green pickle on the thing with it.
When you grow, you glow.
Oh yeah.
Quote of the day on Twitter. So if you guys are on social media, if you're on Twitter, give us a follow over there on Twitter at Big Mike CAWAN. Also Arrow Entertainment over on Instagram, and I think yours is Cypher Xavier on Instagram also, ain't it?
I'm pretty much Cypher Xavier everywhere.
Oh, there you go. Cypher Xavier spaced out with an underscore. So if you guys want to give him a follow over there. Also want to thank you guys for watching us on twitch.tv/arrow with a name. I'll be going live again sometime within the next hour or so. Also, I'm going to do Phasmophobia if Jeff's willing to play. I don't know if you'll be up to playing that with us or not.
I haven't played it since all the updates that I doubt I even know how to play it anymore.
Well, I know they got one big update coming out at the end of the month that's going to add a lot more equipment to it, and I think maybe a couple more stages. I had just finished opening up all the stages available right now to it. And Jeff and I were playing it. Actually, he's playing it right now. I see him playing it over there on Discord. He's probably waiting for me.
He's probably going, why are those two fuckers still on?
He's like, come on, get over here, you eggheaded motherfucker.
And stuff.
Yeah, and stuff. Oh, shit. But yeah, anyway, guys, thank you for watching us. This show is also uploaded on our YouTube channel, Arrow Entertainment. Hit that like, subscribe button down below as well. And like I said, I'll be going live just about every day this week. Friday, I'm going out of town on vacation, so I'll be filming a lot of different locations that I go to. So you'll be getting a lot more content next week coming from that. So, like I said, check me out in a little bit. I'll be streaming Phasmophobia in a little bit.
And one more thing.
Yep.
If any of you bump into the Fat Squatch, he's gonna butter them biscuits.
Yeah, and he's getting that knife ready. He hears them biscuits cooking, so he's coming. Coming soon to theaters, 45 Cannibal Biscuits.
This time, butter won't be enough.
Exactly. All right, thank you all for watching. Until next time, stay tuned in.
What we do here is go back, 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 back.